The rise of a family of immortal cultivators. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 151 Return to the Mountain. The night watch was clearly boring. Brother Tao, this pheasant tastes really good. Of course I caught it in the nearby mountains this morning. It's a steal for you, kid. Wang, with steady steps, finally reached the mountain gate. Hearing the noise, the two men who were eating the chicken quickly let go of the pheasants and stepped forward. The next moment, a head popped out. It was Wang. Chief Wang? Wang Tao exclaimed in surprise. Wang Tao. Wang said, taking a few more steps up. Finally, they reached the mountain gate. Hurry up and inform the masters, Wang Tao commanded. Wang pulled him back. Don't tell anyone I'm back. Wang Tao, of course, nodded, and immediately said something to the boy next to him. The boy, of course, understood as well and nodded quickly. You stay and continue guarding the mountain gate. Wang Tao, you fly me up on your sword. Don't let anyone see us, Wang said. All right. Without a second thought, Wang Tao pulled out his flying sword and immediately began to use his sword control technique. Wang leaped onto it with a single leap. Wang Tao was surprised. Clan leader, you. Don't ask questions you shouldn't ask. Go. Wang said. Wang Tao didn't dare say anything more and hurriedly flew away on his sword. In the mountains, inside a townhouse, Wang Liaoru was meditating when he saw his roommate just returning from the practice room. Liaoru, lend me your books. Take whatever you want. They're all over there, Wang Liaoru said. By the way, where did you get all these books? I've never heard of them, the child asked. Some I brought from home, some I bought. There are many I haven't heard of either, so I'm taking my time reading them, Wang Liaoru said. The child said nothing more. He tidied up his own space in the house and prepared to begin reading. Liaoru, I just saw senior brother Wang Tao flying from the bottom of the mountain up. It seemed like something was up. Are you in a hurry? Wang Liaoru asked. It was anxious, and flying very high. It was only after seeing the sword energy that I determined it was from senior brother Wang Tao, the child said. Wang Liaoru responded without saying anything. The child ignored him and returned to his book. Wang Liaoru, however, had no intention of practicing. He stood up and prepared to leave. Clan leader Wang's return at this time was truly unexpected. He spoke to himself and then headed out. In the mountains, Wang Zimin, Wang Zi, Wang Lin, and Qin Yu all rushed to the main hall. Guard the door and don't let anyone in, Wang ordered. Master. Qin Yu's eyes welled with tears upon seeing Wang. Wang was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Grown man, why are you crying? Qin Yu wiped his tears, feeling embarrassed, and quickly calmed down. Clan leader, you're finally back. I've been on pins and needles for nearly 6 months. Wang Lin teased, lightening the quiet atmosphere. Clan leader, I'm afraid you'll have to continue doing this, Wang replied with a smile. Tell me what's happened in the east over the past 6 months? Wang Lin took his seat and began to recount these events. The details regarding Wang and the Wang family were largely consistent with Wang's assumptions. He was surprised to learn that the 7 major sects had mistaken him for a giant cultivator. The elders of the Destroying God sect might not have known about the dungeon ceiling, but the people of the Mulan sect certainly knew about it. Once they met, they would surely know. The rest of the story involved the 7 major sects enslaving those who hadn't participated in the war. This surprised Wang, but he also understood it. Furthermore, after the war, whether it was the Xiannian sect's encouragement or the resources of the numerous mountainous regions to the south of the east, there were now 7 giant cultivators in the east. The Mulan sect had 2 survivors, and 1 had just broken through, making a total of 3. Yanling Pavilion had 2 who had broken through within a month of each other. The remaining 2 were from the Kainiwan sect and the Zhou family. The Zhou family? The Zhou family of Luoquan Mountain? Wang asked. No, it's from the north, a large family, much more powerful than the Bo family. However, The Zhou family's giant and cultivators have only recently achieved a breakthrough and aren't yet strong enough to compete with the 7 great sects. However, to prevent the eastern region from splitting, the 7 great sects are now treating the Zhou family almost the same as the other 6, and they've also divided up a few of the southern mountain tops, Wang Lin said. That's beyond my expectations. It seems the battle with the Xiannian sect had quite a significant impact. These cultivators have all achieved a breakthrough, and who knows how many have fallen, Wang said. Yes, since the last battle, I've heard that many of the 7 great sects have gone into seclusion, attempting to achieve a giant and breakthrough. Now, only a few have succeeded, Wang Lin said. Outside the hall, Wang Liaoru could see from afar that the hall was brightly lit, with Wang Tao guarding the door. This confirmed his thoughts, and he turned and left. Wang De and the others chatted in the hall until the early hours of the next morning. Wang De's current plan was to conceal his return and then test the power of the 5 elements and 8 trigrams formation in the system. This would inform his future decisions. If the 5 elements Bagua formation were truly powerful, Wang De could use the 9 Heavens mysterious Immortal Palace incident as an excuse to directly expose himself. This would allow him to gain status and resources in the East. The outside world was concerned that the Xiannian sect in the southeast wouldn't just sit back and watch the clash, watching with eager eyes. Wang De was confident that if he truly demonstrated his strength, the 7 major sects would not engage in internal strife within the East. They needed the East to be strong enough to resist external enemies, not to deplete its own internal strength. Of course, this was assuming the 5 elements Bagua formation was powerful enough. If it could only allow him to reach the foundation establishment stage, even at the late foundation establishment stage, Wang De wouldn't even consider taking a share of the East's profits. In that case, Wang De would focus on self-preservation. His affairs had become a hot topic in the East, and everyone's attention was now primarily focused on the Wang family. If he showed up and everyone discovered he didn't even have the strength of a golden core stage, the consequences were predictable. Some might just laugh at him behind his back, while others might actually come and cause trouble. Especially the 7 great sects, since he had already given them a hard time. Even if they didn't cause trouble, the Wang family would likely be blacklisted within the 7 great sects alliance. It was possible they would be enslaved, like the other families. The thought of all the Wang family members being sent south to do hard labor made Wang to feel like a family sinner. Chapter 152 5 Elements Bagua Formation. Liaoru, why are you calling us here so early in the morning? A child asked. They're supposed to absorb our cultivation, right? Wang Liaoru said. Is it just like what happened with clan leader Wang De? I still remember that feeling of weakness, but now that clan leader Wang De is gone, I guess it won't happen again, the child said. Weakness is fine, but they'll give us more spirit stones and elixirs anyway, so why not? Wang Liaoru said. That's right, more spirit stones is a plus, the child said. In the martial arts arena, Wang Lin stood at the front, his voice booming. Today, we're taking a day off. Everyone, take your seats. Dozens of children dutifully took their places. Qin Yi, Wang Zimin, and the other 3, finished organizing themselves and found their places. At the back of the hall, Wang De was about to activate the formation in his system. This was his first attempt, and Wang De had no preparations. He didn't know the difference between the current 5 elements and 8 trigrams formation and the previous pure formations, so he asked Wang Lin to gather everyone. Furthermore, Wang De was concerned about his current lack of cultivation, as he wasn't sure if this would have any impact. Therefore, he absolutely couldn't come out during this attempt. Even if one of the children was clever enough to guess his return, Wang De would have the 4 of them blockade the Wang family for a while, until he could confirm the formation. Boom. Wang De activated the formation. Multicolored optical fibers burst forth from the system. These 5 colored fibers corresponded to a spiritual root and spiritual power from one of the 5 elements. Each fiber, as if possessing wisdom, infused the meditating Wang family member. Suddenly, everyone opened their eyes. Powerful force, unprecedented in power, surged into each of the Wang family members. Most of these children were at the first key training level, with the exception of the 6 older ones, who were now mostly at the 2nd level. However, with just this one ray of light entering their bodies, the spiritual energy within the danshan of these 1st and 2nd key training disciples surged to levels close to the 4th key training level. I've actually reached it. Wang Tao and the other second-level cultivators exclaimed with brilliance. I've reached the 4th level of key training, too, a disciple at the 1st level exclaimed excitedly. Why am I the only one at the 3rd level? Do I really lack the talent for cultivation? Wang Liaoru sighed. Ahead, Wang Zi, the one with the highest cultivation, had only reached a single realm, now possessing the strength of almost the 8th level. Wang Zimin and Wang Lin had also only reached a single level, reaching the strength of the 7th level. Only Qin Yi had suddenly reached an unprecedented height. Is this the 10th level of key training, or the foundation establishment stage? Qin Yi's words startled everyone. Wang Zi and the other two saw that the optical fiber emanating from the back of the hall was still reaching Qin Yi. Most of them, however, only had one. Qin Yi, don't move. This thing must be related to the physical body. Wang Lin said to Qin Yi from the highest point. Qin Yi quickly sat down and mobilized his 3 spiritual energies. A continuous stream of optical fibers flowed into his body. Boom! Powerful spiritual energy filled his body, and the 3-colored spiritual energy surrounded him. Not clinging to him but surrounding him like a protective shield. Exposing spiritual power, it's truly foundation building. Building without breakthroughs, without overcoming tribulations, how is that even possible? Wang Zi was well informed and naturally understood what this circling spiritual power signified. Qin Yi, seeing no more fiber optics flowing into his body, considered himself to be retrieving the released spiritual power. After several attempts, he mobilized one of the 3 spiritual power systems. The use of the released spiritual power was a bit unfamiliar, but it was indeed released spiritual power. Try to attack me with your released spiritual power, Wang Zi said. Qin Yi looked at her and then directed the released spiritual power directly towards Wang Zi. With a simple wave of her hand, the spiritual power instantly dispersed, escaping into Qin Yi's body. Use all your strength, no joking. Wang Zi said. Okay, Qin Yi replied, and the released spiritual power became 3 systems. With incredible speed, it blasted towards Wang Zi. Wang Zi waved her hand again, and the spiritual power dissipated. Your release of spiritual power is just for show, all empty energy. I doubt you'd be able to defeat even a 10th level key training cultivator. True spiritual power releases the ability to use it as a powerful weapon, capable of killing, Wang Zi said. So, I only have the foundation building cultivation, but not the strength to build it? Qin Yi asked. Wang Zi nodded. As the discussion heated up ahead, Wang Da, back in the hall, was also perplexed. Why wasn't the fiber optic cable entering his body? Why? Without any spiritual energy fluctuations, did the system assume he was immortal and therefore withheld the bonus? Or was it because he was the system's host that the bonus was denied? Wang Da didn't know. He only knew that behind him, the illusory array of 5-element brilliance was constantly following him. It still had the added bonus of residual fiber optics, shimmering with an unusual brilliance. At night, it would have been equivalent to half a moon. Clearly, there was still plenty of energy. However, this illusory array was different from the previous concrete array. Moreover, this time, it didn't absorb the cultivation of his family members and focus it on him. Instead, it was the cultivation within the system that boosted the cultivation of everyone in the family. This must be the 5 elements bonus. The illusory 5 elements formation seemed to be waiting for something. What did the 8 trigrams mean? The sequel to the restless 5 elements formation must be the 8 trigrams. Wang Da relied on his mind to urge it, preparing it for a burst of activity at any moment. Ahead, Wang Lin heard the sound of Wang Da tapping on a bamboo pole and knew what was going on. Wang Da asked everyone to calm them down. Everyone, be quiet and sit down. A resounding voice echoed, and everyone fell silent. Wang Da finally unleashed the restless 5 elements formation. It detached from Wang Da's position and began to float into the air, centered around Wang Da and encompassing the entire Congentropi mountain. It expanded, and expanded. A massive 5 elements formation enveloped the entire Congentropi mountain, encompassing it completely. With a swish, the 5 elements formation, shimmering with an unusual light, began to descend, and continued to descend. It passed through the mountaintop, through everyone, through the earth, and into the ground. The entire underground of Congentropi shimmered with a 5-colored light. Wang Da was also somewhat stunned by this transformation. This formation looked so magnificent, it was simply overwhelming, but he wondered how powerful it was. He hoped it wasn't Guangxi's rottenness. Boom! The underground five elements formation began to burst into intense light, and endless light enveloped the entire conjentropy. In just a moment, the entire conjentropy was enveloped. In that instant, everyone disappeared without a trace. When they opened their eyes, there was nothing around them, only a series of floating roads. And he was standing on the road. Everyone was like this, and some timid children were so scared that they cried, clinging to the only tree nearby, refusing to let go. Chapter 153 Five Elements Bagua Formation. Some children gathered in groups of 3 or 5, each in the same area, also near a large tree. At least they had 1 or 2 friends, so they weren't as frightened, but they also clung to the tree tightly, not daring to move. Remember, all around them was nothingness, with only 1, or 2, or 3 paths beneath their feet, leading to nowhere. And this path was floating, just a tiny clod of earth. It was unknown how it managed to stay aloft. Wang Lin opened his eyes and saw the same thing as the other children. But next to him wasn't a large tree, but a dragon gate 2 men tall. Inscribed on it were 2 large characters. Wang Lin was also frightened upon seeing this, but after all, he had been the clan leader for so long and was not young. Wangda, don't be ridiculous. Give me a call. Wang Lin, somewhat fearfully feigning a casual air, shouted into the void outside. Wang Zi opened her eyes and saw the same dragon gate as Wang Lin, next to her. 2 large characters were inscribed on it, Gate of Life. Wang Zi wasn't particularly frightened. She knew in her heart that this was Wangda's doing, and that she shouldn't cause him any trouble now. She could just wait quietly. Wang Zimin opened his eyes, ecstatic. He was the only one who seemed unusually happy. This noise, this ethereal scene, this floating road. A dragon gate with the words, Open Gate, written on it. Patriarch Wangda is truly the savior of our Wang family. This thing must be quite powerful. The Wang family will truly prosper in the future. A smile filled him. Qinyi awoke, and his surroundings were unlike any other. Everywhere he looked, a road paved with human bones, suspended in midair. Numerous tiny particles floated in the surrounding void. It was unclear what they were, but they emitted a faint glow that seemed about to die. Qinyi felt no fear at all. He knew this was his master's doing, and he knew his master wouldn't harm him. Looking up, Qinyi saw the words, Gate of Death, written on the dragon gate next to him. Wang Liaoru was the calmest person in all of conjentropy, even though he was only 7, nearly 8 years old. Nothingness, endless nothingness. Wang Liaoru realized that there was only a piece of land shaped like an island beneath his feet, a dragon gate with the word Dooman written on it. Nothing at all, just a piece of earth. A gate? Wang Liaoru smiled, glanced around, then aimed at a spot beneath the dragon gate and took a step forward. Sure enough. Wang Liaoru continued forward, his entire body floating in the void, without using any spiritual power or magic. 8 diagrams? Wang Liaoru paused at a point. There seemed to be a fork in the road ahead. After mumbling to himself, Wang Liaoru turned and continued walking to the left. Wangda was also confused and still groping. He was standing outside the main hall. He had just activated the 5 elements formation, and everyone had suddenly vanished, leaving him alone. So he stepped out, looking at the empty conjentropy mountain before him, feeling somewhat bewildered. Fortunately, tapping any of the 8 crystals before him would reveal a scene, and with a wave of faith, he could move again. Looking at the young children of the Wang family, Wangda was powerless. He could speak, and they clearly heard him, but he didn't know how to get them out. So, Wangda was still in the exploratory stage. A closer look at the 8 crystals revealed that 2 of them were gleaming, with the words Do Men and She Men written on them. The other 3 also shimmered, but without any words. The remaining 3 only emitted a faint glow. Wangda could clearly see that the scenes in Do Men and She Men were different from the other 6. She Men was a path paved entirely with bones, and faint particles of light were visible around it. Do Men was completely empty, not even a path. Except for the spot where Wang Liaoru appeared, there was land and a dragon gate. And this Wang Liaoru had actually left, walking through the void. Wangda immediately became intrigued. You see, Wangda had checked all 8 scenes thoroughly, and the remaining 7 scenes all had more than 1 person present. Some had many people, others few. Even inside the death gate, there were 3 children. And seeing the path paved with corpses, they weren't afraid at all. Bravely, they hugged a tree, staring intently at their surroundings, their flying sword clutched. By then, Wang Liaoru had already walked a considerable distance. Wang De first approached Wang Lin, who was currently at the rest gate. Wang Lin, do as I say and go pick up those children. Some of them are quite frightened, and I'm worried something might happen. Okay. Wang Lin heard Wang De's voice, but saw no one. Go down this road ahead, turn left, go straight, and of the 4 roads ahead, take the 3rd one on the right. Wang De instructed one by one. After Wang Lin finished walking, Wang De continued. There's a big tree ahead, and there are 3 children over there. Wang Lin approached, and the 3 children were visibly relieved to see him. The 4 continued forward, gathering nearly all the children from the rest gate back to the area with the dragon gate where they had emerged. What should I do now? Go inside? Wang Lin asked midair. Wait a moment. I need to figure out how to get out, Wang De said. As soon as he spoke, all the children from the rest gate burst into tears, and even Wang Lin nearly burst into tears. Chief Wang De, you can't harm us. You must find out before you notify us. Don't try to use us, Wang Lin said, his voice trembling. Okay, I won't let anything happen to you. Wang De ignored them. He then tried to open the scene at the life gate, but Wang Zi had clearly already taken care of things. She had been waiting for Wang De's news, but she heard children crying in the distance, so she quickly searched several times and found all the children from the life gate. Wang De then notified Wang Zi again and waited patiently. Not a single child from the life gate cried, they were all unusually calm. Wang De was about to move on to the next scene when he saw the one with the word Duman written on it among the 8 crystals suddenly explode, disintegrating into dust and dissipating in midair. What happened? It exploded? This Duman had simply exploded. What happened to the child who was the only one inside Duman? Wang De was deeply worried. After all, there was only one person inside Duman, which meant that he was the only person connected to his formation. If he were gone, the formation's power might be affected by the lack of someone inside Duman, although he still didn't know how to operate it. Wang De searched around, paying no attention to anyone else. Finally, he spotted him at the dimmed Shengman, intrigue gate. In this scene, no one was born at the Dragon Gate, so Wang De paid no attention, but there were still many children inside. At that moment, Wang Liaoru emerged from the Dragon Gate of the Shengman, intrigue gate. Wang De was astonished. What a talent! Even someone with a clairvoyant eye like me didn't understand how this formation worked, yet he had already blown up the Du-men, and even attacked the Shang-men. What was going on? Chapter 154 5 Elements Bagua Formation. Wang De fell silent, watching intently. It was clear that Wang Liaoru knew much more than he did. He continued walking inside. Then, turning again, he saw a child ahead of him, chopping down a tree with a flying sword. The branches and leaves had already been chopped off, and even more had been chopped off along the way. Seeing someone approaching, the child ignored him. If you want to get out, follow me, Wang Liaoru said. Why should I follow you? The child said arrogantly. Then you'll stay here forever, Wang Liaoru said. The child showed no fear. What if you're here to harm me? How would I know? Wang Liaoru was speechless. If he had known, he wouldn't have come to the intrigue gate. These arrogant troublemakers were probably all here. Wang De couldn't bear to watch any longer and spoke directly to the inside. I'm Wang De. Follow me. This is an order. The child, frightened by Wang De's voice, hurriedly followed Wang Liaoru. Wang Liaoru glanced up into the air. Thank you, Chief. I thought you weren't here, so I took it upon myself to lead them out. If you were here, it would be great. No need to bother, just let us out. Wang De smiled awkwardly, feeling embarrassed to admit he still didn't understand these things. It would be embarrassing in front of his own children. There's no rush. I think you're the only one who knows more than most, so I'll test you to see if you can lead them out. Wang Liaoru smiled bewilderedly, but remained silent as she continued forward with the child. Soon, Wang Liaoru had led all the children from the intrigue gate to a corner. There's no way out. How are we going to get out? One child asked arrogantly. Wang Liaoru remained silent, continuing forward. Soon, he disappeared. Wang De, even from outside, was shocked. He had gone there, but he searched the other 6 crystals, but couldn't find them. At this moment, the crystal of the intrigue gate, among the 7 crystals actually split into another identical crystal, standing in front of the intrigue gate crystal, sticking together, as if they were conjoined. 2. Intrigue gate, Crystals? Wang was confused. The children in Intrigue Gate 1 saw Wang Liaoru disappear and followed him. Anyone who could enter this gate was extremely brave. Wang watched everyone enter Intrigue Gate 2. Fearing that he would miss Wang Liaoru's every move, he hurriedly followed his path forward. Wang Liaoru led a group of children and walked for a long time in the empty Intrigue Gate 2. Finally, they reached a boundary. There was a dragon gate in front of them with the words, Intrigue Gate, written on it. It was exactly the same as the dragon gate in Intrigue Gate 1. Wang Liaoru pointed at the dragon gate in front and said, "You should go into the gate and you should be able to get out." Do you mean not sure?" a child asked arrogantly. "Yes, if you don't get out, you'll enter another scene just like this one. Find a dragon gate exactly like this one. Exit through the dragon gate, and you'll reach the death gate. If you really reach the death gate, just wait for me. I'll lead you out," Wang Liaoru said. Some of the children didn't understand it all. Some who did understand walked straight and without hesitation. One of those who didn't understand, with their own unique personalities, asked, "Does the death gate kill you?" Wang Liaoru was furious. "This place is arranged according to the 8 diagrams. The death gate is just like the injury gate you're in now. It's just one of the gates. If the main formation doesn't use a killing move, any gate is the same." The children kept harping on the death gate, refusing to enter even if they felt unsafe. They wouldn't dare to enter until Wang spoke. Seeing everyone else go in, Wang Liaoru turned back. Wang was carefully observing Wang Liaoru's movements when he saw the children in the injury gates all emerge from the crystal. When the children saw Wang, they didn't know what to call him and what to do. Wang didn't hesitate. He scolded them and asked them to return to their original positions and do their best. After all, he was an adult. Even if these children were naughty, they didn't dare to make a fuss and just sat quietly. Wang Liaoru left the dragon gate at Intrigue Gate 2, and walked all the way up. When he reached a dead end, he walked in without hesitation. With a beep, the second crystal in front of Wang, representing the injury gate, split again, and a third injury gate appeared. Wang was no longer shocked and studied honestly. Wang Liaoru continued to walk forward at Injury Gate 3. It was only then that Wang realized that the scenes of the 3 injury gates were exactly the same, except that the dragon gate in the first scene was on the upper left, the dragon gate in the second scene was on the lower right, and the dragon gate in the third scene was on the right. However, when Wang Liaoru was in the third injury gate, he didn't enter the dragon gate on the right, but walked in from the dead end at the top. Boom! The 3 crystals representing the hurt gates suddenly exploded. Wang's thoughts were interrupted by the sound. Looking at the 6 remaining crystals before him, he continued to check where Wang Liaoru was. Xiu men, Wang Lin was at the dragon gate with a group of children. However, they weren't behaving themselves, they were actually playing games, and they were having a blast. Wang was speechless when he examined the scene inside. Wang Liaoru hadn't entered Xiu men from the dragon gate, but had entered the Xiu men scene from a dead end. Wang Lin was puzzled when he saw Wang Liaoru approaching. "I've been walking around a few times, why didn't I see you?" "Master Wang Lin, I wasn't in the scene just now. I'm here to lead you out," Wang Liaoru said. The address was reassuring. In Wang Liao's mind, he had helped him become the clan leader. Now that Wang had returned, he naturally recognized him. Wang Lin didn't care, but said happily, "Did Wang ask you to lead us out?" Wang Liaoru was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Wang Liaoru looked at the children playing various games and said loudly, "Everyone, stop playing for a moment and listen to me." Some of the children stopped, while others continued. It was not until Wang Lin spoke that everyone stopped and looked at Wang Liaoru. "If you want to get out, you need to split into 4 groups and enter the derivative scenes from the top, bottom, left, and right of the scene at the same time. Then, in each of the 4 derivative scenes, find the 4 dragon gates in the top left and use your flying sword to destroy them," Wang Liaoru said in one breath. Seeing the confused look on the children's faces, Wang Liaoru looked at Wang Lin with a sense of despair. Wang Lin smiled awkwardly. "I don't quite understand either. Can you explain it again?" Chapter 155. There is always a prodigy among a group of children. I really don't know whether to say you're wise but appearing foolish or truly stupid. If you were truly stupid, I wouldn't have nominated you as clan leader, Wang Liaoru said. Wang Lin gave him an awkward smile and tapped him. You little brat, you dare to laugh at me? It hurts. Wang Liaoru cried out, but didn't say anything more. He continued slowly. You need to split into 4 groups. Enter the derivative scenes simultaneously from directly above, directly below, directly to the left, and directly to the right of this scene. Then, in each of the 4 derivative scenes, find the 4 dragon gates in the upper left corner and destroy them with your flying swords. What are derivative scenes? A child asked. Wang Liaoru looked at Wang Lin again, who gave him another awkward smile. What exactly is a derivative scene? Wang Liaoru slapped his forehead. Those who can enter this scene really have no sense of direction, and they all can't understand these logical questions, eh? The derivative scene is just like this one, with the same path. There's also a door in the upper left corner, with XIU men written on it. Oh. I get it. I get it. Wang Lin looked as if he had suddenly realized something. Wang Liaoru breathed a sigh of relief. That's good to hear. I still have other scenes to go to. You must not forget my words. Don't be afraid when you reach the end of the road, just go straight through. Okay, go ahead. Wang Lin said. Wang Liaoru slapped his head, still a little worried, and repeated his words before taking a few steps forward. Behind him, Wang Lin and the others also took action, and Wang Liaoru also reached the next door. The remaining 6 crystals exploded one after another, and the entire 5 elements formation at the foot of Conjentropy Mountain instantly dissipated. The system received a prompt. Wang checked and found that the 5 elements bagua formation had turned black. Has it cooled down? It seems it's temporarily unusable, but Wang has learned a lot from this first attempt. First, he had gained what he considered a peerless genius. Second, the power of this formation was likely considerable. While its effectiveness was unknown at this point, this prodigy would undoubtedly know it. Everyone regained consciousness. Wang had already revealed himself, and there was no need to continue discussing whether his identity was exposed or not. This was a critical moment. Wang Lin, Wang Zimin, and others issued strict orders, temporarily closing Conjentropy Mountain to all entry and exit. However, Wang knew that with the overwhelming force just now, the 7 great sects would undoubtedly have personnel stationed around Conjentropy. So, he needed time to verify the power of the formation. All the children were rushed back and ordered not to leave, allowing them to concentrate on their cultivation. Qinyu personally guarded the mountain gate, while Wang Zimin and Wang Zi watched over the 6 and 7-year-olds. Wang Lin, along with Wang Tao and the others, kept an eye on the outside. Wang wanted to take Wang Liaoru to a private location for a chat. However, Wang Liaoru didn't go directly, instead taking Wang back to her own quarters. Upon entering the house, despite being a townhouse, the vast expanse was filled with bookshelves, many of which were also filled with stored rings. Wang casually examined them and discovered that the stored rings were also filled with books. Are these yours? Wang asked. Yes, I have limited spirit stones and can't afford a high-end storage ring, so the extra ones have to be left outside. It's all thanks to them that they let me keep them, and they take up such a large space, Wang Liaoru said. Wang understood the meaning and, without hesitation, took out a high-level storage ring and handed it over. I don't have any spirit stones at the moment. I'll go get some from Wang Zimin and then reward you. Take this storage ring for now. Wang Liaoru took it without hesitation and walked over to a storage ring on a bookshelf. He pulled out 3 books of varying thicknesses from it, and then took another book from a nearby storage ring. Chief, these 4 books all cover the 8 diagrams. Take them back and read them, and you'll understand a lot, Wang Liaoru said. Wang took it. The top one read miscellaneous diagrams. The next one, strange formation techniques. Where did you get all these books? Wang asked. Are you talking about these 4, or the others? Wang Liaoru asked. Tell me about them all, Wang said. Many were brought from home, and some were bought. I collected them from everywhere, most of them in Heiji Market. One of these 4 books came from Shangzong Valley. Shangzong Valley was destroyed, and all its resources were plundered, leaving only these useless books. A wandering cultivator took advantage of the chaos to scavenge them, and I ended up buying them. I also included many that were previously passed down from the 2 major sects. There's everything, but no techniques or secret manuals. Wang Liaoru spoke eloquently. Wang listened carefully. Since you like books, go buy them. Wang Liaoru nodded. But I just flipped through it. While there's some information related to the 8 formation diagram, it's too obscure. You should come with me first. Wang De continued. Okay. Wang Lai Oru nodded. Wang De went out to read. How could it be more useful to bring a living book with him? This Wang Lai Oru could directly break his own 5 elements and 8 trigrams formation, so he must be completely familiar with all of this stuff. He was a living strategy. In the front mountain, Wang Lin's residence. How about a courtyard like this? I can store as many books as I want, Wang De asked. Yes, but with a storage ring, there's enough space. Living alone in a courtyard would be awkward for others to see, Wang Lai Oru said. Are you really only 7 years old? A natural prodigy? Wang De asked, looking at him. To be precise, I'll be 8 after the new year. And there's no such thing as a prodigy or not. I just read more books. Wang Lai Oru said. You're modest, too modest. Wang De smiled. Wang De personally moved a chair, brewed tea, and handed him a cup. Wang Lai Oru took it with both hands, bowing slightly. I heard that when I disappeared, you were the one who recommended Wang Lin as clan leader? Wang De asked. Wang Lai Oru nodded. Tell me why? Wang De asked. One is a reckless man, one is stubborn, and the other is afraid of things and cannot bear the heavy responsibility. Wang Lai Oru said. You are really rude. If they hear you, I am afraid they will skin you alive. Wang De said with a smile. I believe that Patriarch Wang De will not say anything nonsense. Wang Lai Oru said. It is normal for smart people to be a little arrogant, but people who are too smart should also have some loyalty and courtesy. Otherwise. Wang De didn't finish his words. Upon hearing this, Wang Lai Oru hurriedly saluted. Patriarch, you are too polite. I am a descendant of the Wang family. I was born in Qinjiantang and grew up in Qinjiantang. Naturally, I will live and die with Qinjiantang. Let's not talk about living and dying together. After all, they are your masters. You still have to respect them in your heart. After Wang De finished speaking, he changed the subject. Speaking of which, Wang Lin is also timid and afraid of things. Why do you want to establish him? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 The 7 Major Sects Visit. It's true he's timid, but that only shows he's lazy, not incompetent or unintelligent. To be clan leader, one must be able to unite the entire clan and face external troubles with one voice. Master Zimin has clear likes and dislikes, is benevolent but not authoritarian, and is stubborn and inflexible. Master Wangzi is extremely protective of his disciples, treating them like treasures and not caring about the lives of the rest. Master Qin Yi is too young, reckless, and indecisive. Master Wang Lin, on the other hand, although timid, handles everything with composure. Over the past 6 months, I felt his decisions have been flawless. As for clan relationships, Master Zimin and Master Qin Yi are naturally not to be mentioned. He treats all his disciples equally. Regardless of his abilities, at least with him as clan leader, no one in the family has major objections. Wang Lai Oru spoke again. No flaws? They spent all the spirit stones I left behind. Wang De was speechless. Forget it, let's not talk about it now. There's no point in talking about this now. Let's talk about the 8 formation diagram. The formation the clan leader demonstrated is identical to the 8 formation diagram. Although the scenes are different, they are also interconnected. Each of the 8 formations is different and unique. The formation the clan leader demonstrated is divided into 8 gates, corresponding to each direction, but it abandons the original formation and combines the 8 gates into a single, unified formation: rest, life, injury, stop, scenery, death, shock, and open. The 8 gates are identical and interconnected. Wang De understood the first few words clearly, but the rest was a bit confusing. So, my formation is a combination of the 8 gates, yet it also forms a separate formation? Yes, so the formation the clan leader uses is unlike ordinary formations, Wang Lai Oru said. Then how do you use this formation? How do you kill the enemy? Wang De asked, raising his biggest doubts. This type of formation is mostly used by mortals. It's a formation where the enemy is outnumbered, using defense as offense. It's rarely used among cultivators. If I were in charge of the formation, I might be able to understand it, Wang Liaoru said. As expected, he still needed to be in the main formation to see it. Although this child was a member of the Wang family, Wang De had little contact with him, and he was only 7 years old. He already felt he couldn't match him. Although he had shown some strength to him earlier, it was clear that he couldn't treat this kind of person like an ordinary child. If he were older, he would be even more difficult to predict. However, judging by his actions, he was clearly concerned about the family's interests. Wang De was wary, but for now, he still trusted him. However, the system's cool-down period hadn't yet fully recovered, and it was unknown how much longer it would take. Now, he could only hope that Wang Liaoru could figure it out on his first try, without having to wait for another cooldown. Earlier, when the commotion erupted at Congentropi Mountain, the Mulan sect disciples guarding Congentropi were startled. A massive 5 elements formation covering the entire mountain naturally frightened them. Most importantly, when the 5 elements formation fell into the ground, the entire Congentropi glowed. Then, the entire Congentropi was shrouded in a void, intangible and intangible. They also sent a person to investigate, but upon arriving at the Congentropi territory, they found no way forward. They couldn't get in, just like the sect's protective formation, no matter what. They were considered inner disciples of the Mulan sect, and were considered knowledgeable, but this kind of magic was something they had never heard of or seen before. At the Mulan sect's mountain gate, Baizio once again summoned the members of the other 6 sects, but this time, in addition to the other 6, the patriarch of the Northern Great Family, the Zhou clan, was also present. After disappearing for a month, we finally have confirmed news. Wang De should have returned, and our suspicions are correct. This Wang De should have reached at least the Golden Core stage. Is that confirmed? Asked the Zhou clan's head nearby. Not yet, but I'm about 80% sure, Baizio said. I called everyone here this time to confirm it together, so we can work together to unite the eastern part of the country. I'm really looking forward to seeing the return of the 9 Heavens' mysterious immortal palace, a nearby man said proudly. That's what I meant, another man said. If they don't have this strength, and have kept us on edge for over a month, I'll definitely destroy Qing'an, another man said. Alright, since they've already shown us some of their strength, we shouldn't put on airs and call them over. 7 sect leaders, and Patriarch Zhou, how about you come with me? Baizio asked. 8 of us? How can we test his strength? Except for old Liu, none of us have even reached the Golden Core stage, the earlier man said. Don't worry, my 2 uncles will go with us, Baizio said. The group discussed the future of the Wang family and set off the next day. As for the Wang family, the remaining Mulan sect disciples waited another day after seeing the void vanish, before receiving word from the sect. The 7 sect leaders and Patriarch Zhou had arrived, instructing them to notify Qing'an. Naturally, everyone in Qing'an had received the news. Everyone, including Wang De, was in a state of panic. With the 7 major sect leaders visiting, and the head of the Zhou family also present, Wang De had already brought himself to the forefront. This matter was probably too much to handle. If this formation wasn't as powerful as it could be, the Wang family would be in grave danger. As the saying goes, fortune and honor are sought in danger, and Wang De was ready to give it a try. If it truly didn't work, he could just give in, and keep giving in. Should he still be able to hold on to the mountain? He probably could, but now that things were at this point, there was nothing else he could do. A day passed. Early the next morning, Wang De and the rest of the Wang family were waiting at the mountain gate. Wang De was truly cautious this time. If the formation wasn't powerful enough, he still had to consider a way out. Even if he was laughed at, it was better than nothing, wasn't it? After waiting for about half an hour, the Wang family saw a purple aura rising into the sky ahead, a radiant glow, a scene resembling an immortal. This flying magic weapon is truly impressive. It's a formidable artifact, but it's just a facade. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been so severely targeted by the Xian'an sect. Wang De muttered to himself. Slowly descending, 12 people in total descended one after another. Wang De hurried forward and offered a grand ceremony. Patriarch Wang De and his disciples have come to greet the 7 major sect leaders and the Zhou family leader. Those behind him were also extremely nervous. Baizio and the others were still confused when they saw Wang De, returning the gifts and exchanging pleasantries. The 3 people walking behind were Liu Yu, the head of the Yanling sect, and the two giant cultivators from the Mulan sect. The three giant cultivators exchanged glances and communicated through a secret channel. Here, there's a seal in his dantian. Yes, it should be a soul-devouring seed, probably from the Desert Demon clan. They rarely use such things in the central region. Wait, let me see through his dantian to see his cultivation level. With a buzzing sound, Wang felt someone watching him, a penetrating sensation. The 9 people in front had clearly not yet reached the giant stage and were still unsure of what was going on. The 3 people behind him resumed their conversation. Around the 7th level of key training, no doubt. This whole thing is a joke. We've really been scared by the Zionian sect. Then what about the commotion the day before yesterday? I don't know. No matter what, today, we must get to the bottom of this Wang situation and leave no room for future trouble. Yes, take a closer look to see if there's anything else wrong with him. The 3 people at the back took a thorough look and then relayed secret messages to the people in front. The people in front were stunned, all looking at Wang with unfriendly eyes. Wang had no guilty conscience, and he didn't expect to escape their scrutiny. Chapter 157 Entering the Battlefield. Master Wang, you've given us a lot of trouble. Bai Xiao felt like he'd been tricked. He'd been exchanging pleasantries with Wang, but now, upon hearing their voice transmission, he changed the subject without hesitation. Master Bai, what are you talking about? When did I ever give you any trouble? Wang feigned innocence. Bai Xiao was choked by this, feeling lost, but his anger only grew. The others were no different, clearly classifying Wang as a scoundrel who deserved to die. The truth was, Wang had done nothing, it was just their own imagination. Regaining his composure, Bai Xiao waved his hand and continued speaking to Wang. I heard Master Wang was taken away by the 9 Heavens' mysterious immortal palace? Yes, that woman said she liked me and wanted to take me back, Wang said truthfully. Then why didn't Master Wang go with him to the 9 Heavens' mysterious immortal palace? Bai Xiao asked. I didn't want to go, so I begged them to let me go, and they did, Wang said truthfully. Bai Xiao had initially wanted to test Wang to see if he was as they'd suspected, but it was clear he wasn't. It all seemed like they were just imagining things, creating a mess. Seniors, since you're here, please come sit on the mountain. I'll do my best to be a good host, Wang said politely. No need to go up the mountain. We're here today to discuss this Conjentropy Mountain situation with the Wang family master. A nearby sect leader couldn't help but sigh. At this point, Wang was growing increasingly angry. The sect leader was ready to directly target the Wang family with the same tactics he'd used against those who hadn't attended. The others remained silent, clearly acquiescing in the plan to punish the Wang family. Without objecting, Wang simply asked, what's the matter with Conjentropy Mountain? Of course, it's about the annexation of our 7 great sects. From now on, Conjentropy no longer belongs to the Wang family but will be managed by our 7 great sects. You, the Wang family, can still lie there, but every year. The sect leader spoke eloquently, clearly showing no sign of brooking any objection. If that's the case, then the Wang family will become slaves of the 7 great clans? Wang asked. If you say so, fine. Who allowed you to play tricks on us like this? We're already giving you face by not exterminating your clan, the headmaster said arrogantly. Can I discuss this with the disciples of Qingjing? Wang asked. No. If you don't agree, I declare today that every last member of your Wang family will be killed. With these words, only Bai Xiao raised his hand. Don't talk about exterminating your clan. Wang glanced at Bai Xiao, his eyes gleaming with an unknown meaning. Still no reply, Wang pulled a child from the crowd behind him and asked, what do you think? Wang Lior looked at the heads of the 7 great clans in front of him, then at Wang. I think it's okay. You, clan leader, are asking a child about something like this? It's ridiculous, the headmaster scoffed. He had no intention of taking action. He simply wanted to trample and ravage the clan that had played tricks on them. I mean, I think I can kill all 12 of you, leaving no trace behind, Wang Lior said calmly. Laughter rang out, and the previous headmaster burst into laughter. The other 2 also chuckled. The other 9 had a bad feeling, and they immediately looked at Wang. Wang smiled. If this doesn't work, it's a matter of life and death. I'm 90% sure, Wang Lior said. I don't like 90%, I'd prefer 100%, but at this point, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. As Wang spoke, the 5 elements bagua formation in the system, which had cooled down, clicked on. A small five elements formation appeared behind Wang De. The three who had been laughing stopped laughing, and the 12 stared at Wang De intently. The three giant cultivators behind him were ready to attack Wang De at any moment. But Wang De clearly wouldn't let them do that. At least he was very familiar with the process of activating the formation. With a boom, Wang De activated the optical fibers before they even emerged from the five elements formation. The five elements formation instantly expanded, covering the entire conjentropy. As it descended, the 8 trigrams formation arose. The series of actions was completed in an instant. Wang De wasn't experimenting, observing each step. As soon as Wang Liaoru landed, he returned to the Duman, ignoring the fiber optic light that had fallen on him. Wang Liaoru shouted into the air. Send a disciple from the Jingmen to the path directly above. Have him go to the Duman. I'll go out and take charge of the formation. Wang De didn't hesitate. Upon hearing Wang Liaoru's words, he directly directed a child from the Jingmen, Wang family to the Duman. Then, Wang De saw Wang Liaoru emerge from the Duman and join him. What should we do next? Wang De asked. First, find the location of those 12 people, Wang Liaoru said. They may have already massacred the disciples of the one sect. Wang De was speechless. Was this a desperate fight? His plan clearly didn't include that. At the same time, Wang De felt a growing grudge against the child named Wang Liaoru. Slaughtering the children of a sect seemed so easy to her. But there was no time to hesitate. Wang De searched carefully within the 8 gates, but could find no trace of the 12 individuals. No, they're not within the 8 gates. Haven't you entered the formation yet? This formation seems more powerful than I imagined, Wang Liaoru said, then continued. Then forget about them. Let's set up the formation. Wang De nodded. Tell me what we should do. Wang Liaoru began to direct Wang De, who then directed the men within the 8 gates to set up the formation. Speaking of the 7 great sects, we were too close to that absorbed power just now. We couldn't have anticipated it, and we have no experience. It looks like today is going to be a disaster, a giant cultivator from the Mulan sect said. We were careless. If we hadn't let our guard down, at least the 3 of us could have escaped, another giant cultivator said. Where is this? Bai Xiao asked calmly. Everyone looked around, only to see nothingness. Is this a void space? Or an illusion space? Asked Liu, the headmaster of the Yanling sect. If it's the void space, then it's a magic that can only be performed by the spirit-severing realm. The giant cultivator said earlier. Everyone was surprised and became serious. Don't be scared. Even if it's the void space, it can be performed with magic weapons. Another giant cultivator from the Mulan sect comforted everyone. What if it's the illusion space? Asked the headmaster of the Kyanigwan sect next to him. Illusion spaces are mostly performed by magic weapons or taking elixirs. If it's an illusion space, then Wang De is just bluffing, said the giant cultivator. At this time, the headmaster Liu of the Yanling sect was shocked. It could also be a small world space. That's impossible, said the giant cultivator. I'm just guessing. As for the small world, I've only heard of it. I don't know what it looks like specifically, said the headmaster of the Yanling sect. No more talking, you'll know after trying it. Chapter 158 8 Formations. With these words, the 3 giant cultivators instantly unleashed their spiritual energy, attacking in 3 directions. Boom, boom, boom. 3 sounds echoed. The space remained unchanged. All 12 of them were now calm and composed. Looks like this is an illusionary space. I'll tear Wang De apart before I get out, said the headmaster who had spoken at the mountain gate. Bai Xiao waved his hand again. Don't talk nonsense. Even if it's an illusionary space, to withstand the attacks of 3 giant cultivators, this magical weapon must be quite powerful. The headmaster fell silent. The 3 giant cultivators unleashed their spiritual energy, filling their bodies and forcefully shattering the space. A tearing sound echoed, and the space outside remained unchanged. However, within this space, a floating road appeared beneath their feet, with a tree beside it. It was unknown where the road ahead led, and it was also unclear where the road behind led. Another illusionary space, someone asked. Let's try it first. The giant cultivator glanced at the 2 beside him. The 3 giant cultivators soared into the air. Rip! The 3 giant cultivators felt an invisible suction force, unexpectedly pulling them down. Not allowed to fly, the giant cultivator muttered to himself. Void space? This seems beyond our comprehension. another giant and cultivator said. I've never seen such a coercive void space. If it truly is a void space, with such a strong constraint, he must be confident he can surpass our cultivation level. If that's the case, then why would he release this void space? I simply can't understand. Or perhaps a magic weapon, another giant and cultivator said. Possibly, it could be the inherent special limitations of magic weapons, which is why. The giant and cultivator hadn't finished his words when a figure appeared ahead, slowly approaching. About 20 meters ahead, the figure stopped. I am Wang Tao of the Congentropy Wang family. I've come to seek the advice of the masters, clan leaders, and seniors. The 12 people were stunned by the 9 or 10-year-old child before them. What kind of behavior was this? A blatant mockery, a trampling on their identity as the strongest in the East. The fiery sect leader rushed forward without hesitation. Don't be fooled, Bai Xiao hadn't finished speaking. Wang Tao, seeing the man charging towards him, turned and ran without a word. The sect leader's hair flew into a rage, vowing to slay the brat, only to find that even on this path, he couldn't move faster than the brat. I'm a late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator, and I'm being toyed with by a second-level key condensation brat. Before the others could intervene, they saw the sect leader giving chase. None of them were without combat experience, knowing that in this illusion, dispersal was a serious offense, so they all followed. As they ascended, they reached a three-way intersection, one continued straight up, one to the left, and one to the right. Wang Tao continued upward, and the sect leader, without a second thought, followed. The 11 people behind them watched as the two of them took the middle path. As they caught up, they saw the path ahead had reached its end. Wang Tao, without hesitation, ran through and vanished. The headmaster followed suit and vanished as well. At this point, the 11 people behind them, in perfect unison, stopped moving. The vanishing path ahead indicated there was more than one dimension. Could it be multiple dimensions? Or perhaps a folded dimension? They didn't know. They only knew they had to abandon the headmaster, who had already pursued them. As the headmaster followed, the child disappeared. He realized he had been tricked and separated. Realizing this, the headmaster quickly turned around, took a single step, and crossed directly through, seemingly back to the same dimension he had been in before. Looking up, he saw the same scene as before, but the 11 people were gone. The place was empty, completely deserted, not a single person in sight. As for the 11, they didn't move without permission. Instead, they followed the previous fork in the road and, in less than 10 minutes, mapped out the entire terrain. 4 dead ends, 6 trees, and a dragon gate with the word Jingmen on it. It's the 8 formations diagram, the old leader of the Destroying God sect exclaimed in surprise. 2 or 3 of the other 11 knew about it, but the others, while familiar with it, didn't fully understand it. Hearing the Destroying God sect leader speak, they didn't dare to speak out. If you all trust me, follow my lead. Together, we'll break this formation, the Destroying God sect leader said. Leader Xing, while I'm not an expert on the 8 formations diagram, I do understand a few things. If it's truly the 8 formations diagram, doesn't that mean this place has at least 8 independent dimensions? The Mulan sect leader asked. If it's truly the 8 formations diagram, then there's probably more than 8 dimensions, the Destroying God sect leader Xing asked. Among the 8 gates, if the path directly above Jingmen is open, then this Jingmen has more than one independent dimension. The path above Jingmen is a derivative dimension. If it goes back, it's another derivative dimension, which means it's too far away from the main Jingmen dimension. If he doesn't understand this, he might never get out, said Leader Xing. Derived space? Is this void space so powerful? It looks like we've really hit a wall this time. Bai Xiao sighed. He recalled everything that had happened since the 7 great sects took control of the East. He had made so many missteps that he felt truly unworthy of being the leader of the 7 great sects. Everyone, stop discussing and listen to me, Bai Xiao said sharply. Everyone stopped talking. Bai Xiao looked up into the air and shouted. Patriarch Wang, if you can hear me, please reply. Outside, Wang Liaor was standing next to Wang De. Wang De had heard Bai Xiao's words and hesitated. Wait a moment, Alliance Leader Bai has something to say to me, Wang De said to Wang Liaoru. Wang Liaoru nodded and fell silent. Wang De replied to Bai Xiao. Alliance Leader Bai, just say whatever you want to say. I can hear you. Patriarch Wang, we are truly rude. I apologize on their behalf. Bai Zhao cupped his hands, half bowed, and performed a profound salute. Master Bai, you're embarrassing me. How could I possibly deserve such a grand gift? Wang De said politely, half smiling. I won't beat around the bush. Since clan leader Wang De has staged such a grand display, it proves he's powerful enough to challenge us. I believe clan leader Wang is aware of the current situation in the east. Just a small display of strength is enough now. Avoid internal strife and allow outsiders to exploit the situation. Our 7 great clan alliance is not the former Upper Zhonggu. We seek peace and shared development. Since clan leader Wang possesses this power, he will naturally become one of us from now on. Resources and territory can be discussed. Bai Zhao spoke sincerely, now simply trying to undo his own mistakes. Master Bai, what are you talking about? I'm just the patriarch of a small clan. What business is it of mine to decide who rules the East? As the rulers of the East, you want to enslave my children and cut me into pieces. I'm merely defending, Wang De said. Chapter 159 Jingmen Wang Tao. Wang De had been thinking about negotiating peace at this moment. He knew that a display of strength would convince them to speak out. However, the formation had already been activated, and if they didn't suffer a little, it wouldn't be enough to intimidate them. Bai Zhao was clever, but many of the others were cowards. Furthermore, and most importantly, Wang De wanted to test the true power of the formation, and there was no one in the entire East more suitable than this group. However, this was undoubtedly playing with fire. If this group cracked the formation, his Congetropy mountain would likely be completely wiped out. He knew Wang Liaor was confident, but such clever people were conceited. The head of the Destroying God sect was clearly well versed in the 8 diagrams. Wang De simply couldn't believe that a 7-year-old child could defeat this elder who had lived for at least several decades. After a long pause, Wang De remained silent. Bai Zhao waited patiently, and the other 10 people didn't dare to say anything, waiting with Bai Zhao. The fact that this void space had so many layers proved that this magical weapon, or perhaps even technique, had surpassed their imaginations. Wang De had already established in their minds that he was equal to, or even superior to, them. Wang De spoke shortly afterward. Alliance leader Bai, how can I be sure you'll let us go if I remove the formation? Wang De asked a rather foolish question. I, Bai Zhao, am a man of my word. I absolutely mean what I say. I believe Patriarch Wang is a wise man. Even if you truly possess the power to slay us today, the 7 great sects alliance will be weakened, and your Wang family will truly become the ruler of the East. Then, you'll lose the power to contain the Xian'an sect and the Northeast. Does Patriarch Wang have the confidence and strength to face their numerous enemies in the East and preserve the East? Bai Zhao remained sincere. I have neither the confidence nor the strength. But since you said you wanted to recruit me into the 7 great sects, I should demonstrate my strength, right? Otherwise, you agree, but those around you don't, right? Wang De said. Bai Zhao was speechless. Wang De continued. Since we've set up this formation today, why don't you all try to break it? I promise I won't harm a single one of you. That kid is really arrogant, saying he won't harm any of us, a nearby sect leader said. Sect leader Xing, I trust you and will follow your lead. Together, we'll break this formation. Look, the people next to you clearly aren't listening. Wang De said to Bai Zhao. Everyone, try to break the formation. Patriarch Wang, I hope you'll keep your word. We 7 great sects are all of the same blood. If anyone dies here today, we will fight to the death. Bai Zhao said weakly. Of course, I won't harm any of you. Wang De replied. There was no more to say. The 10 people all looked at organ leader Xing. Originally, the method to break the Jingmen was very simple, but now that we've been separated, a derivative Jingmen has emerged. Breaking it will be much more difficult. With this, sect leader Xing began assigning personnel. Breaking the formation now required finding the missing individuals. 2 seniors, Jinden, you take the 7 of them through the Dragon Gate. Inside is a derivative scene of the Jingmen's collar. Take out the defenders while we arrive and break the formation together. Sect leader Liu, you're a Jinden. So come with me from the top to find the person. Everyone nodded and dispersed. The 2 sect leaders descended from the top and arrived at an identical space. Sect leader Xing, without hesitation, simply walked and looked, only to discover that no one was present in the scene. Sect leader Liu, you enter from the bottom and search. If you don't find anyone, return. The way back is through the Dragon Gate in that scene, not the original path. Sect leader Xing said, and then he re-entered. Outside, Wang Liaoru asked, should we keep that Xing guy here? That way, everyone else is trapped. Are you sure? Wang Da asked. He's only in the late foundation establishment stage. I'm 90% sure, Wang Liaoru said. If we keep him, wouldn't that be pointless? If we're going to test him, let's do a comprehensive test. It's boring to keep the only person who understands this formation after only 2 doors have been opened. Don't you have a lack of confidence? That's why I'm asking you to keep him now? Wang Da asked. Since the clan leader doesn't want to keep him here, then why not? How could I not have confidence? Wang Liaoru said calmly. That's good. Wang Da replied. Come right here. Sect leader Xing said that's where the person guarding the formation is. Everyone, be careful and look carefully, said the Mulin sect giant and cultivator. No need to look. I'm the one guarding the formation. Wang Tao stood in the distance, watching them. A kid at the second level of key training actually needs 2 giant and cultivators to deal with him? Although the sect leader wasn't as arrogant as the previous one, there was a hint of contempt in his voice. Don't be careless. Since Wang Da is so confident he won't harm our lives, he must be confident he can handle us, Bai Zio warned. Even as these words were uttered, Wang Tao charged forward. Everyone remained cautious, using their spiritual energy to protect themselves, waiting to see how strong Wang Tao was. A single strike of the sword actually corroded even the slightest trace of their spiritual energy. The strike calmed everyone down. But the very act of corroding spiritual energy was astonishing, and the power of the strike was clearly visible. A second-level key training cultivator was a second-level key training cultivator. A giant and cultivator cast a binding spell. They didn't want to kill the Wang family member, after all, because of the agreement between Bai Zio and Wang Da. With a sound of so, Wang Tao was bound and fell. My spell is enough to trap him for 7 days and 7 nights. Don't bother with him, the giant and cultivator said. Everyone moved forward, ignoring Wang Tao. Swish! Another Wang Tao appeared, standing at the fork in the road ahead. Young men, follow me. With a single shout, numerous Wang family members appeared from behind, each one swinging their swords with disregard for life and slashing forward. They're all fake, not real people. Just kill them. Bai Zio warned. Bang! 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 With each sound, Wang Tao and all the Wang family members behind him were struck, instantly dissipating into nothingness. Although the crowd dispersed them all, each of these Wang family members risked their lives just to land a single blow. The corrosive force, with each strike of their sword, significantly eroded the spiritual power of the 10 men. One sect leader even pulled out a high-grade spirit stone to replenish his energy. Before he could fully absorb it, another Wang Tao appeared, followed by another group of Wang family members. Are you trying to consume us? The Mulin sect giant and cultivator shouted. Try not to let them touch you. Everyone was cautious, almost completely blocking them. This time, only Wang Tao and the other 2 made contact, striking with their swords. Swoosh! Another Wang Tao appeared, followed by another group of disciples. Even though ants are small, they can bring down buildings. This Wang Da is planning to consume us to death, a headmaster said. Everyone, don't go any further. Fall back and wait for Headmaster Xing and the others to arrive, Bai Zio said, and everyone began to retreat. Chapter 160 Double Doors Open. As for sect leader Xing and sect leader Liu, since Wang Da had no intention of leaving them at Jingmen, they easily tracked down the missing sect leader and led him back to the Jingmen they had just arrived at. They then took another path to the scene where the remaining 9 people were. Although they were retreating, they didn't dare exit through the Dragon Gate, fearing they would enter another derivative scene. Therefore, they diligently slew the phantoms radiating corrosive sword energy. As the 3 of them descended, sect leader Xing frowned. Phantoms plus corrosive spiritual energy? Yes, and not just 1 or 2 waves, but an endless supply, said the giant and cultivator from the Mulin sect. It seems the corrosive energy is the power of Jingmen. I discovered this before, which is why I sent you here to break the formation. I didn't expect there would be phantoms. Perhaps they've opened the double gates. Sect leader Xing spoke, then soared upwards. As he soared, he no longer felt the pull from before. Everyone was shocked to see sect leader Xing, unmoved by the pull, continue ascending. Master Liu, follow me, Master Xing said, and Master Liu followed. The rest of you, don't expend your spiritual energy, there's no need to kill them. Simply subdue these phantoms with your physical bodies. Upon hearing this, everyone quickly retracted their spiritual energy and engaged the phantoms with their physical bodies. They naturally weren't afraid of the phantoms simply by expending their energy. Master Liu followed and saw an identical path. A dragon gate on the path bore the words Jingmen, Shock Gate. 2 gates opened simultaneously. This formation is far beyond my imagination. Even if we can escape this time, Wang will be a great treasure in our eastern region. Master Xing was delighted, not surprised. He secretly calculated that this formation would have been no match for the 2 women from the Xiannian sect that day. Anyone who offends the Congentropy Wang family will die. The 2 men saw a 9-year-old girl in front of them, holding a flying sword and a look of arrogance. This person was Wang Ye. Young lady, you must obey orders. Don't kill them. Just subdue them. Wang De was speechless. Wang Ye was the most arrogant of the entire Wang family. She looked down on Wang De as clan leader, and she also looked down on Wang Lin as clan leader. But she had the resources. As the most accomplished cultivator of her generation, the strongest in sparring and combat, she was always filled with fighting spirit and persevered in her cultivation. Okay, got it. Let me handle them, Wang Ye replied, swinging her sword forward. Sect leader Liu was wary of being careless, but sect leader Xing stopped him from advancing and stepped forward, allowing Wang Ye to strike him. This is fake. Ignore it. Let's move forward and break through this shocking gate first. Wang Ye's figure dissipated, and the 2 of them walked forward. Then, they saw Wang Ye's rushing out from different locations to launch a surprise attack. But sect leader Xing seemed to ignore them and continued forward. Wang Ye was getting anxious. Wang Tao, you're fucking useless. Get back to me now, or they'll break through the Jingmen gate. Wang Tao replied. Oh. He rushed forward again. A sword strike came, and sect leader Xing dodged. As expected, they're coming, old Liu, let's retreat. Sect leader Liu quickly followed suit. The phantom Wang Ye's sword was laced with corrosive force. Instantly, more than a dozen Wang Ye's rushed forward. The 2 tried their best to dodge, but were still hit by many, though they were only passively defending. Outside, Wang Liao frowned after hearing Wang De's report. Oh no. Wang Ye and the others were tricked. They were going to break through the Jingmen gate first. Wang De was about to pass on a message to Wang Tao and Wang Ye when he saw that the crystals of the Jingmen and Jingmen's derivative scenes had all shattered, leaving only the main crystal. It's all your fault. They let them escape. Wang Tao complained. They're so cunning, Wang Ye replied weakly. Alright, stop arguing. Wang Tao, take them to the death gate, Wang De said, and then showed him the way to the death gate. Wang Ye, take them to the rest gate. Bang! Bang! The crystals of the Jing gate and the Jing gate, once connected as one, instantly separated, each becoming a crystal. The Jing gate crystal merged into the death gate, and the Jing gate crystal merged into the rest gate. Everyone, let's recover our spiritual energy first. This is the rest gate, so it shouldn't be as troublesome as the other 2 gates, said sect leader Xing. Everyone sat cross-legged to recover their spiritual energy. Just then, a stout man stepped out from the front. Seniors, sect leaders, I'm honored. Wang Lin said respectfully. Patriarch Wang, I'm honored. Bai Xiao stood up and replied. There's no fighting here. We just want to play a game with you. Wang Lin continued. Everyone looked at sect leader Xing. Upon hearing this, sect leader Xing spoke up. Everyone, be careful. Split. Split. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at each other and realized something was amiss. The original group of 12 had expanded by several more. Each one leaped to their feet, distancing themselves from the others beside them. The path was already narrow, so everyone stood at a distance. Everyone, it's fun. I'm leaving first. Wang Lin said, and then he vanished. The 2 Bai Xiao stared at each other intently, showing no sign of weakness, but neither dared to move. Everyone looked again at Master Xing, only to see 4 more Master Xing appear in front of them. Everyone, listen to me. The Wang family cultivators have low cultivation. Each of you must fight someone who looks like you. The one who survives is the real one of the Master Xing said. Don't listen to this fake talk. Don't fight your own clones. These people who look like us aren't fake, but clones of ourselves. If we kill them, we'll be hurt too, another Master Xing said. Don't listen to him. Kill someone who looks like you, the 3rd Master Xing said. Don't listen to him. You can't kill a clone. You'll be seriously injured if you do, said the fourth Xingzhang. Everyone was now even more hesitant to move, only to discover that everyone had 2 clones, except Xingzhang, who had 4. In just a short while, they've actually opened the Jingmen gate again, the real Xingzhang muttered to himself. This art of reading people's minds is truly the most difficult. The other 3 were engaged in their own debates. The real Xingzhang naturally knew which was his clone and which was a Jingmen gate impersonator. So, he prepared to take action and eliminate the 2 impersonators, so that everyone would trust him. The real Xingzhang briefly exerted his spiritual power and prepared to unleash a binding spell. The fake Xingzhang, knowing he was no match for them, quickly spoke out. They're 2 Jingmen gate impersonators. Quickly eliminate them. Before the real Xingzhang could unleash his magic, 2 of the Bake Xiao jumped out simultaneously. The 4 of you, hold off on attacking. If we injure the real Xingzhang Jiao, we won't be able to get through this formation, one of the Bai Xiao said. No, the real Xingzhang Jiao is already at the late foundation establishment stage. The fake ones must be those guys pretending. If they fight, the fake one will definitely lose, said another Bai Xiao. Chapter 161 Zigman and Jingman. Outside. Haha, a 2-faced person has indeed appeared. But it's Bai Xiao, Wang said. That's enough. Now it's Wang Lin's turn, Wang Liaoru said. Inside. Everyone was even more confused. The 2 Bai Xiao stared at each other, unsure of what to do. They didn't dare attack each other, as both Xingzhang sect leaders had just told their clones not to attack, and it was still unclear which one was telling the truth. Apparently, the other Bai Xiao was thinking the same thing and didn't dare attack either. The situation suddenly quieted down. Then, it was Wang Lin's turn. Alliance Master Bai, it doesn't matter if you don't believe me now. Even if you don't kill the other person like me, it's fine. We just need to find the key to this formation. Break it, and these fakes will naturally disappear. Wang Lin was now in the form of Xingzhang sect, but the real Xingzhang sect, hearing his words, surprisingly didn't notice anything wrong, nor did his clone. Alliance Master Bai, go find the key first, the real Xingzhang sect said. His clone nodded in agreement. Wang Ye was a bit slow to react. She glanced at Wang Lin and nodded in agreement. Wang Ye now resembled sect leader Xing. Then how do I find the center of the formation? The 2 Bai Xiao asked simultaneously. The real sect leader Xing remained silent, but Wang Lin spoke directly. This is the Xiu gate. To break the formation, we need to enter from the top, bottom, right, and left of this main space simultaneously. Activate the 4 derivative scenes, then find the dragon gate within. Simply use brute force to break it. The real sect leader Xing nodded unconsciously. Yes. The 2 Bai Xiao looked at the 4 sect leader Xing, surprisingly unanimous. They looked back again. 2 sect leaders Liu, come with me. Let's break the formation first. Sect leader Liu of the Yanling sect glanced at his clones, and they both nodded. The 4 of them, wary of each other, emerged from the upper left dragon gate of the Xiu gate and reached the central intersection. They headed in 4 different directions. Here, 2 giant cultivators from the Mulan sect were still there, 4 giant cultivators, keeping vigilant against the 4 Xing sect masters, to prevent any unforeseen events. Directly above, Bai Xiao took a single step and arrived at the derivative dimension of the Xiu gate. He ascended, intending to destroy the dragon gate on the upper left. Unexpectedly, just as he reached the center, he saw a little girl from the Wang family standing at the intersection. Without further ado, Bai Xiao cast a binding spell. Swish! The spell passed right through the girl's body, completely unaffected. How is that possible? Even if it's just an illusion, it should have dissipated. Bai Xiao was puzzled. But he saw the little girl in front of him, grinning innocently. Because you're Bai Xiao's clone, you're not Bai Xiao at all. We're the main formation of the Xiu gate. As the leader, you can't hurt me. Bai Xiao was at a loss for words, then saw the little girl approaching him. Bai Xiao tried to escape, but he couldn't move, as if he were being restrained by the little girl before him. The little girl flung a fist at Bai Xiao, who instantly dissipated. Wow! I actually killed the leader of the 7 major sects. I suddenly feel so powerful. Haha. Haha. Wang Yanran, stop playing around and act. Wang De interrupted her reverie. Oh. Wang Yanran waved her hand again, and another Wang Yanran appeared, transforming into Bai Xiao. Meanwhile, Sect leader Liu's clone had apparently suffered the same fate, replaced by the Wang family boy. The real Bai Xiao and sect leader Liu destroyed the Dragon Gate and waited for a long time, seeing no sign of any movement. With no other options, they returned the same way. Fortunately, the Xiu sect, unlike the Jing sect, remained indefinitely, spawning endlessly. Upon returning to the main scene, they saw their clones had also returned. The four of them simultaneously scanned the area, sensing something was amiss, but clearly unwilling to act rashly. Returning to the upper left corner, they explained the situation to the four sect leader Xing. The real sect leader Xing was clearly puzzled. This is undoubtedly the main formation of the Xiu sect. Even if both the Jing sect and the Xiu sect were active, they couldn't possibly disrupt the formation that hadn't yet been activated. Furthermore, the Xiu sect clones aren't like the Jing sect's phantoms, they're equal to the originals. They believe they're the originals, so they should be helping them. There's no chance of any accidents. Could it be? The real Xing sect master hadn't finished his words when one of the two Bai Xiao attacked the other. The other Bai Xiao, unfazed by the attack, counterattacked with a flying sword condensed with spiritual energy. At the same time, sect master Liu attacked the other sect master directly. The scene was a bit chaotic, and everyone was in motion. These people were among the strongest in the East, so the phantoms of Bai Xiao and sect master Liu naturally dissipated. At this moment, they naturally believed Wang Lin's words, that he was going to kill his clones. The others shared the same view. Bai Xiao had killed his clones without incident. However, after battling their clones for a while, these people began to wonder how their clones could be so powerful, and why Bai Xiao and the others' clones were so instantly annihilated. The real Xing Zhengjiao and his clones were shouting nearby, but the battle had already begun, so no one could hear their words clearly. Furthermore, Wang Lin and Wang Yale were still fanning the flames. Still, a few, seeing their clone's strength, guessed something and hesitated to fight. After all, clones weren't real, so those who hadn't guessed immediately unleashed their full force, shattering the surrounding floating paths with their magic. Bang! Bang! Several clones were directly struck by their real bodies and dissipated. However, their real bodies immediately suffered the backlash. A piercing pain shot through their bodies, their spiritual energy instantly dissipated, and they spat out a mouthful of blood. The real Bai Xiao, now seeing the situation clearly, attacked the two fake Xing Zhengjias. They vanished, revealing that the fake Xing Zhengjiao was merely a phantom of Wang Lin and Wang Ye. The remaining uninjured, including their identities, dared not reveal anything at this moment. Bai Xiao and sect leader Liu, who were trusted by everyone at this moment, stepped forward and treated the seven injured. It turned out that their spiritual energy had been severely depleted, and even with spiritual stones, replenishing it would likely take a considerable amount of time. Furthermore, their internal organs and dantian had suffered minor damage. While not fatal and not subject to future damage after taking elixirs, they would likely be unable to use spiritual energy or fight for a short period of time. You two, the real sect leader Xing looked at Bai Xiao and sect leader Liu. Now that both formation centers are destroyed, go to the derived scenes of your two clones and break the other two. However, even if the Xiu gate is broken, it's unclear which gate we can reach. Because you didn't enter at the same time, the scene will change when breaking the formation. The two nodded. Chapter 162 Entering the Death Gate. Bai Xiao shouted into the air. Patriarch Wang, these few will stay here to recuperate. I hope you'll keep your promise. Of course. The rest of you, please continue to break the formation. Wang De replied. Actually, this time, both the resting gate and the shocking gate were open. Wang De understood the mechanics and could have kept them all, but he wanted to test the power of the entire formation. 7 people had already been left, so he naturally didn't want to keep the remaining 5. Then Wang De saw that they had unexpectedly headed straight for the death gate. Inside, sect leader Xing was also somewhat bewildered. I didn't expect to go straight to the death gate. I wonder if this is good or bad luck. The opening, injury, and life gates were omitted. What's inside this gate? Bai Xiao asked. I don't know. The contents of each of the 8 diagrams are unknown, but the formations are connected. The death gate is the most terrifying killing move, sect leader Xing said. We entered through Jingmen. I originally planned to lead everyone through Jingmen, Zimen, and Kaimen, reaching Shengmen and exiting through Shengmen. However, an incident occurred at Zimen, leaving us at Ximen. Therefore, We had no choice but to break through Seaman and head towards Duman, exiting through Duman. Of the 5, except for Bai Xiao, sect leader Liu, sect leader Xing, and the 2 giant cultivators from the Mulan sect, the remaining sect leaders, including the Zhou family head, were attacked by their own clones and remained at Ziman. Fortunately, the presence of the 3 giant cultivators reassured sect leader Xing. Breaking through Seaman is also the simplest method. Simply go directly from the dragon gate in the upper left to the path in the lower right and pass through, sect leader Xing said. However, when the 5 reached the central intersection, they saw 3 little boys with solemn expressions. One held a spear, one a flywheel, and one a flying sword. That's murderous aura, so strong. These 3 children are very dangerous. Sect leader Liu, a giant cultivator, noticed something unusual about the 3 children. The 3 Wang children remained silent, staring at them intently. I'll try, Bai Xiao spoke first. Be careful, whispered the giant cultivator of the Mulan sect behind him. Bai Xiao nodded, drew his flying sword, and his late foundation establishment cultivation was clearly on display. With a single leap, he charged directly at the 3. The 3, empowered by their spiritual power, were not afraid at all. They skillfully dissipated the force, easily dodging Bai Xiao's attack and even stabbing him with a backhand. However, Bai Xiao's spiritual power was so strong that he directly knocked the child away. He grabbed the tip of another child's flying sword with one hand, exerted force, and pulled the child towards him, then bombarded him with a stream of spiritual power. The child appeared to be only at the first level of key training, but after being struck by Bai Xiao's spiritual power in the late foundation establishment stage, he only vomited blood slightly and stood up easily. Bai Xiao didn't fight much, and jumped back in one step. This formation is simply terrifying. These 3 children, only at the first level of key training, have speed and strength approaching that of the foundation establishment stage. However, their spiritual power is so weak. If I were to kill them, it would probably take me some time. The other 4 nodded. Master Xing, why is this place, both the terrain and the surrounding void, so different from other places? Master Liu asked. Underfoot is a road of human bones, while outside is as dark as night, dotted with stars. I'm not sure, but based on my understanding of the 8 formations diagram, it seems this death gate should have a more appropriate human-based formation than the 3 gates we encountered earlier, Master Xing said. The other 4 were puzzled, and Master Xing didn't say much, simply gazing into the air. He shouted into the air. Patriarch Wang, quickly get the person in charge of the formation out. Otherwise, if I kill you 3 Wang family members, we'll have to argue after we get out. Okay, I wanted to give you some time to figure out how to break the formation. Since Master Xing is so impatient, I won't tease you anymore, Wang replied. He then addressed the 3 Wang children. You step back. The 3 children nodded and walked back. Then they saw Qin Yi, descending from the nearby void. Masters, seniors, hello. Qin Yi bowed. What's your name? Bai Xiao asked. Since this person was the master of the Death Gate formation, he must be the Wang family's strongest fighter. The name is just a code name. I don't want to elaborate. Everyone, please enlighten me. Qin Yi said. He said this because his background was likely complicated, so Wang didn't allow him to reveal his name. Seeing that he didn't say anything, Bai Xiao looked at the 4 people behind him and stepped forward. I'll try again. Without any weird stuff, what's the real power of this 8 formation? Boom. A sword thrust forward, Qin Yi unleashed his 3 spiritual powers, firmly grasping the flying sword. Before entering the 8 formation, Qin Yi, relying solely on the external optical fiber, already appeared to have reached the stage of foundation building. Entering the Death Gate, a place of slaughter and battle, and being the main formation master, it went without saying. Boom. Bai Xiao's flying sword froze, and he had no choice but to let go and retreat. Unexpectedly, the 3-element spiritual energy pursued him like 3 tentacles. The flying sword's 3-element spiritual energy severed its connection to him, then directed the flying sword towards him. With no chance of retaliation, Bai Xiao was filled with fear. His 2 senior apprentices couldn't bear to watch unattacked, severing the released spiritual energy with their swords. Qin Yi also took a step back. 2 giant cultivators stood in front. Qin Yi held the flying sword. I'm in need of a good flying sword, Alliance Master Bai. Lend me this one for a while. Bai Xiao was furious. Not only was he embarrassed, But he couldn't even get his flying sword back. A mid-stage foundation establishment spiritual energy can actually crush a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. The power of this formation is truly terrifying, the giant cultivator exclaimed. Speed, strength, and physical strength, they're practically approaching the giant realm. I wonder if this person is a freak, or if this formation is a freak, another giant cultivator remarked. Junior brother, enough nonsense, attack. With a swish, a stream of pure spiritual energy barreled down. Kinyu didn't dare to be careless, raising his sword to block. The spiritual energy, unpredictable, split into two streams, separating from the upper and lower parts of the sword and blasting towards Kinyu. Kinyu couldn't dodge and was struck by one of them. Simultaneously, another giant cultivator released 4 streams of spiritual energy, forming 2 hands, including his own, a total of 6, each holding a magical weapon, activated simultaneously. A silk thread, 2 sword energies, and a beast-like form emerged. A black ball of light also appeared behind Kinyu. A strange and bizarre thing. Kinyu had already been struck, and now he didn't know where to hide, so he could only fly upwards. The thread missed, then shot upward, relentlessly pursuing. The 2 sword energies dissipated when they missed. The beast form was also under control, slashing with one claw at lightning speed, striking Kinyu's leg while he was still in midair. The black ball of light behind him moved slowly, but the energy within was palpable. A late night chapter. Please subscribe, preferably with a full subscription. Thank you. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 The Furious Giant Monk. Kinyu's 3 spiritual energies surged within him. Ignoring his leg injury, he unleashed a blast of sword energy towards the 2 men. Simultaneously, he wrestled with the beast-like figure with his flying sword. A silk thread from behind pierced Kinyu's chest, before the black ball of light could reach him. With his free hand, Kinyu combined the 3 spiritual energies and grasped the thread, immobilizing it. The struggle between his 2 hands left Kinyu unable to move. The 2 men easily dodged Kinyu's sword energies. Seeing him unable to move, they charged forward, one holding a flying sword, the other holding a magic weapon. Kinyu knew the danger was imminent. With a loud shout, numerous points of light converged on him in the surrounding void. A sudden burst of force shattered the beast-like form, but the thread, despite the force, remained intact, seemingly solid. Kinyu could only leverage the force to fling the thread far away. In an instant, he raised his hand to block the 2 charging men, using the force to leap a distance. Looking at the wound at his feet, the small hole in his chest punctured by the thread, and the spiritual energy surging within him from the direct hit, Kinyu felt a deep strain. He once again absorbed the surrounding light points, leaving little behind. We can't keep fighting like this, or we'll outlast you. The 2 men didn't pause at his words, continuing forward, charging down. Kinyu dodged with a leap, but the next moment, 4 Kinyus appeared simultaneously, attacking from 4 different directions. Unable to react, the 2 men had to defend with all their might. Swish! The smell of corrosion. The 2 giant cultivators felt their spiritual energy dissipate significantly. I had hoped to fight you head-on, but it seems we can't defeat you. Since that's the case, let's finish you off quickly and show you the power of the 8 formation, the 4 Kinyus shouted simultaneously. Then, each Kinyu split into another, and all 8 Kinyus wielded flying swords. Boom! 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 Countless sword energies descended. The 2 were unable to react. Some of the sword energy contained no spiritual power at all, merely corrosive energy, while others were truly spiritual energy. They dared not resist, and under this fierce bombardment, the 2 giant cultivators' spiritual energy was directly corroded by a large margin. Jingman, Zilman, I've only opened 3 gates, and you can stop me? Kinyu scoffed, forgetting that he was the master of the Death Gate. As Kinyu finished speaking, his body began to slowly recover, and the surging spiritual energy began to flow in an orderly manner. He was opening the life gate, healing himself. I'm back to normal. Do you still have the strength to fight? The 2 giant cultivators were clearly unconvinced. They had been beaten by that woman from the Zionian sect before, and they had nothing to say. But now, being beaten by a 16 or 17-year-old boy, it was truly. Seeing their silence, Qin Yi's face began to take on a murderous look. Shangman, open. Boom. The 8 Qin Yi split into 16. Each Qin Yi materialized, wielding a flying sword, and charged forward, slashing at the 2 giant cultivators. The 2 giant cultivators were clearly no pushovers, each taking a pill to replenish their depleted spiritual energy. A murderous aura began to emanate from them. Bang! Powerful spiritual energy instantly gave rise to countless hands, grabbing and crushing each Qin Yi. Most of the 16 Qin Yis dissipated, and Qin Yi quickly took a step back. He sensed a hint of fear, a murderous aura. He seemed to have truly angered 2 genuine giant cultivators. Whoosh! The 2 giant cultivators vanished in an instant. Qin Yi was horrified, unable to even discern their current location. Disciple, retreat. Wang, standing outside, warned, observing the murderous intent of the 2 giant cultivators within the death gate, a fusion of 6 crystals. Qin Yi, aware of the consequences, split into 2 clones and flew into the air. Fortunately, the 2 giant cultivators were restrained by the 8 formation diagram, unable to fly too high, allowing Qin Yi to escape. However, all of his clones were crushed by them. Boy, the dignity of a giant cultivator is not something you can challenge, one giant cultivator raged. Junior brother, calm down and don't let your mind wander. Another, regaining his composure, warned. Yes, both seniors, calm down and continue breaking the formation. Wang, seeing that Qin Yi was fine, also warned. Screw you, Wang family boy, get out of here or I'll skin you alive and tear down Conjentropy Mountain. The giant cultivator was furious. Boom. Boom. Countless bombardments echoed throughout the death gate, but how could a giant cultivator tear open this spatial restriction with force? Having depleted most of his spiritual energy, the giant cultivator realized that his strength was not enough to break through it. Tell me how we're going to get out. I'm going to tear this guy apart. The giant cultivator stepped before sect leader Xing. Sect leader Xing offered a few soothing words, but they were clearly ineffective. Only Bai Zio's words calmed him down. The 5 continued on their way, the exploding giant cultivator still furious. As they neared the death gate, Wang Liaoru asked, Clan leader, do you want me to go into the Duman? I'm confident I can stop them, this time. No need. Wang De replied. This giant cultivator is so furious, I'm afraid Bai Zio and the other giant cultivator won't be able to stop him. Wang Liaoru said. Don't worry, I'll stop him from getting out, Wang De said. By then, the 5 had already exited the death gate and were heading for the Duman. Without Wang Liaoru, the Duman posed no threat. With sect leader Xing's abilities, he could naturally lead them out. Wang De ignored them, only glancing at the 7 people in the Ziman, and instructed Wang Lin to lead them out. 7 people emerged first. Upon seeing Wang De, they remained silent, sitting cross-legged to heal their wounds. Wang De also sent a message to all the disciples remaining in the 8 formation diagram. Everyone, stay put. Remain in the diagram. No matter what happens, don't worry. Just sit still. The disciples obeyed without moving. Waves of spiritual energy began to converge. The rest gate, the life gate, the vision gate, the shock gate, all converged around Wang De. Behind him, a small 5 elements formation appeared. Sure enough, it was still there. Wang De had just realized that the original formation that had united the disciples was still there. Simple and direct, it was also the most effective formation. The 5 elements selected for the 1000 reputation upgrade had temporarily enhanced all disciples' cultivation, strength, and speed. And the 8 trigrams selected for the 5,000 reputation upgrade was this 8 formation diagram. And the original formation, still the original one, still managed to gather the spiritual energy of the disciples and strengthen their abilities. However, Wang De has no cultivation now, so he doesn't know whether all this spiritual power will flow to him when it gathers together. Chapter 164 The Furious Giant Monk. The gathered spiritual energy began to gather, converging on the floating 5 elements formation behind him. Once fully concentrated, the refined, pure spiritual energy began to flow into Wang De's body. Strengthening, he could no longer sense any spiritual energy in his danshin, only his body was constantly being catalyzed by the spiritual energy, merging into his flesh and blood. It was a force that even Wang De felt terrified, a sensation of his body being torn apart. He clenched his hands, and the explosive force felt far more powerful than any ordinary spell. The spiritual energy of the disciples within the Bagua formation was immense. Qin Yi, now nearing the middle stage of foundation establishment, alone contributed an extraordinary amount of spiritual energy. The tearing sensation continued, and Wang felt his body had reached its limit. The pure spiritual energy began to impact Wang's sealed Danshan, and Wang sensed the subtle trembling of the devouring spirit seed within his stored ring. A surge of joy filled Wang's heart. Could this concentrated spiritual energy break through his sealed Danshan? Unfortunately, reality dampened Wang's spirit. Clearly, this spiritual energy couldn't break the seal in the slightest. Wang channeled his internal energy, gathering it within the small five elements formation behind him. He struggled to control it, but it merely followed him, unable to be controlled. The dazzling light was the result of this abundant spiritual energy. Wang estimated that if his spiritual energy remained, he could at least temporarily ascend to the late Jinden stage. While he didn't know what that stage looked like, judging by the 3 early Jinden cultivators within, this spiritual energy was far more formidable. While unable to utilize spiritual energy now, their strength and bodies were undeniably strong. Just then, 5 members from the 7 major sects emerged. The 8 crystals before Wang's eyes returned to their original state, revealing all the members of the Wang family except Wang Liaoru. The volatile Jinden cultivator, upon seeing the 5 elements formation behind him and Wang in the 8 crystals before him, flew into rage. Bai Xiao and another Jinden cultivator held him tightly. Let him go. If he doesn't take action today, I'm afraid he'll die at our hands in the future. That would just create a grudge, Wang said slowly. Listen. This boy, whose cultivation has been sealed, is so arrogant. I'm going to blast your Danshan today, the enraged Jinden cultivator roared. Wang Liaoru automatically took a few steps back, standing behind Wang. Patriarch Wang, please be quiet. My uncle-in-law is known for his quick temper. Bai Xiao, let me go. I'll definitely skin him alive. Ah. The Jinden cultivator was completely enraged. You're not qualified. All 3 of you Jinden cultivators, attack together. Wang glanced at the other Jinden cultivator from the Mulan sect who was holding him back, then at the Yanling sect's headmaster. With these words, the Jinden cultivator broke free, unleashing a powerful burst of spiritual energy, a lethal blow. Unfazed, Wang vanished. The 3 Jinden cultivators present were instantly panicked. What kind of speed was this? Even they, at the early Jinden stage, couldn't see clearly enough. This speed completely surpassed their level of cultivation. The next moment, Wang appeared behind the Jinden cultivator and delivered a simple, unpretentious punch. Without a trace of spiritual energy fluctuation, it was a direct blow. Boom. The Jinden cultivator fell, crashing into a massive crater, a full 10 meters deep. Unable to react, the Jinden cultivator's spiritual energy surged unsteadily. He considered his physical body quite formidable for an early Jinden stage, but Wang's strength and speed clearly matched his physical state. Boom. With an instant burst of force, the Jinden cultivator activated a shield of spiritual energy, protecting his entire body. He didn't know how Wang's physical body could be so powerful. He only knew that his Danshan was still sealed. He had no spiritual energy, only a powerful physical body. He couldn't believe he couldn't defeat a reckless man who couldn't use magic, only speed and strength. Wang was just beginning to adjust to this powerful body. The previous blow was merely a warm-up and acclimatization exercise. This early-stage Jinden cultivator from the Mulan sect, facing the Xianyang sect's early-stage Jinden woman, couldn't even defeat her 3-on-1, clearly one of the weakest among them. When the shield activated, 6 spiritual arms instantly unleashed, revealing 6 magical treasures. Fancy. Wang scoffed, but before he could even begin, he had already unleashed his flying sword. With one strike, bang! The powerful force was blocked by the spiritual energy, and the meteorite flying sword shattered into pieces. The spiritual power of a Jinden cultivator truly cannot be shaken by brute force, Wang decided inwardly. The next moment, the Jinden cultivator unleashed all his magical treasures. Wang threw a backhand punch, blasting the beast-like form apart. He easily dodged 2 sword energies. The thread, however, was a solid object. Wang grabbed hold of it, and seeing its considerable power, he pulled it back with his backhand. With a ripping sound, the thread struck the Jinden cultivator's shield, sending it shattering. Nice weapon. Lend it to me for a bit, Wang casually said. The giant cultivator struggled to control the thread's return, but was unable to do so. Wang simply held it in his hand, unable to even touch the magical weapon itself. You. The giant cultivator, furious, shouted. Crack the earth. No, Uncle Master. If you tear down Conjentropy Mountain, we'll be at loggerheads. Bai Zio shouted from behind. Magic? Wang wasn't taking it lightly. While he was still forming seals, he swooped down, grasping the thread and striking him directly in the hand. The power of a giant cultivator's magic was undeniable. If they truly tore down Conjentropy Mountain, it would be a truly catastrophic event. The giant cultivator was naturally on guard. His two spiritual arms instantly swung back, a flying sword held in front of him to block the thread. Tear. The sound dragged on. Wang paused, the thread using its force to wrap around the flying sword. He tugged, ripping the spiritual arm apart. He threw a backhanded punch with his left hand, unhesitating. The giant cultivator's spell had already been completed. Another sound. Bang. Wang's punch had already landed, this time with all his might. The next moment, the giant cultivator's body flew backwards a great distance, his spiritual energy dissipating, leaving not a trace behind. Dispersed by Wang's single punch, the spell had already been completed. The nearby boulder inscribed with Qingjintang royal family and the stone-carved dragon gate rose from the ground, coalescing into countless shattered stone blades, forming a staggered formation that now completely surrounded Wang. The powerful earth element spiritual energy within them held a murderous aura. The giant cultivator scrambled to his feet, took a pill, and with his remaining spiritual energy, controlled the countless stone blades to deliver the final blow. Kill. As the sound came, the spiritual power in the giant cultivator's body was completely consumed, leaving nothing behind. Chapter 165 Returning and Failure. The stone knives surrounding Wang trembled, and countless stone knives began to attack endlessly within the encirclement. If it were just stone knives, Wang, relying on his current physical strength, would naturally be unafraid. However, these were stone knives shattered by earth-based magic. The power of a giant cultivator, whose spiritual energy is no longer simply spiritual power, but a part of their being, is unstoppable, regardless of its purity or aura. Even those at the same level cannot withstand it head-on. With a silk thread in hand, he drew it down, powerfully dispersing most of the stone knives, but many still struck Wang. His powerful body was pierced by the spiritual energy, the tearing sound of skin being sliced, but no deeper damage could be inflicted. Although Wang's flesh was torn and bloody, the wounds had not damaged any of his internal organs. After taking a simple healing pill, Wang felt pain, but knew he had not suffered any substantial damage. Shaman, Wang Zi, had already reacted and was about to heal Wang, but it was clear that Wang was immune to the effects of the Bagua formation. The giant cultivator's expression was filled with despair. The next moment, Wang vanished again. Nearby, Sect Master Liu Yu and another giant cultivator tried to rush to his aid, but couldn't match Wang's speed. They slid the giant cultivator up and tossed him aside. Do you still want the dignity of a giant cultivator? Wang asked. He breathed a sigh of relief. His suspicions had proven correct. The Wang family members, blessed by the five elements, had undoubtedly become vastly more powerful. Furthermore, they had remained within the eight formation, allowing all the elements' blessings to converge upon him. He had already pushed his physical body to its limits. He was powerful enough to crush even early giant cultivators. Even giant-level magic couldn't shake this formidable body. And this crushing victory was achieved without any spiritual fluctuations. Wang believed he was powerful enough to shock the entire eastern region, despite being only a 7th-level key training cultivator. No, senior, please spare my life. Don't kill me, the giant cultivator exclaimed. Why would I kill you? Just to teach you a lesson. We're all from the eastern region, so why fight among ourselves? Wang said. Is his danshan still sealed? Sect leader Liu whispered to the nearby giant cultivator. What I see is the same as yours, almost identical to what we saw just now. This powerful body is clearly connected to the five elements formation behind him and the 8 crystals in front of him, the giant cultivator replied. Bai Zio hurried forward. Patriarch Wang is right. I apologize to Patriarch Wang on behalf of my uncle. I accept your kindness. If you say such ruthless words again, don't blame me for being rude, Wang said. Of course. Bai Xiao took the giant cultivator and stepped back. Patriarch Wang is incredibly powerful, and his formation is incredibly formidable. He's more than capable of challenging the eastern region. If Patriarch Wang is free that day, please visit our Mulan sect to discuss important matters. Of course. The growing strength of the eastern region is what we both wish for, Wang De said politely. He then looked at the two giant cultivators behind him. Are you still dissatisfied? If you want to learn from me, I'll be happy to accompany you. If you come back another day. It won't be a competition today. Patriarch Wang's strength is obvious to all. We are ashamed of our inferiority, the other giant cultivator said with a bow. Even giant stage magic cannot harm his essence. Patriarch Wang's physical strength is so powerful that we dare not act rashly, said Sect Master Liu Yu, then changed the subject. However, the seal within Patriarch Wang's body is that of the soul-devouring seed. My Yanling Pavilion is well versed in the strange and bizarre techniques of the immortal cultivation world. If Patriarch Wang is confused, he can visit me someday. I will have the knowledgeable Grand Elder help him clear up his confusion. Oh. Wang De immediately became interested. When Zisuo had explained it to him, she had also said that she had only heard about it and didn't know much about it. Since Yanling Pavilion had studied it, he could definitely go and ask for advice to see if there was a specific method to remove the seal. However, Wang De also remembered that when he returned, he had killed 3 people from Yanling Pavilion, and that little girl was still lying in Wang Lin's courtyard. Naturally, he felt a sense of confusion. Thank you, Master Liu. I'll definitely visit you someday. Liu Yu returned the greeting with a bow and retreated without further comment. He wasn't afraid of any comments about his attempt to win over others. Ever since the 7 major sects began their rebellion and attacked Shangshangzuang Valley, they had decided that they were all one family. Everyone, please gather on the mountain. It's not proper to stand here at the mountain gate. Since the masters are injured, I, your uncle, am being disrespectful. I won't bother you anymore. We can talk at the mountain gate of my Mulan sect someday, Bai Xiao said. Then I won't see you off, Wang De waved. The group flew away on their swords, not even drawing their flying magic weapon. Wang De held on for a while longer before finally pulling everyone out of the Bagua formation. The 5 elements formation dissipated, and he instantly knelt on the ground. A tearing sensation lingered throughout his body, his physical body returning to its original strength of around the 10th level of key training. All the Wang family disciples, drained of their spiritual energy, were now generous, donating spirit stones one by one to restore their strength. Only Wang Liaoru remained as usual, responsible for accepting spirit stones from Wang Zimin and distributing them one by one. If any enemy had attacked at this moment, the Wang family would have been powerless to resist. Only Wang Liaoru, at the first level of key training, could have fought. Fortunately, by afternoon, no one dared approach Kingentropy Mountain. Everyone's spiritual energy had recovered somewhat, and Wang De was carried to a side room in the main hall to rest. The pain Wang De felt from this formation was indescribable, numbness, weakness, and a tearing sensation, repeated over and over again. Wang De didn't know how long it would take to recover, so Kingentropy Mountain remained sealed. Recovery was in progress. After the 7 major sects left Kingentropy Mountain, the giant cultivator attacked by Wang De began vomiting blood. A quick inspection by the nearby personnel revealed that not only had his spiritual energy been shattered, but his internal organs had also been severely injured. Fortunately, his Danshan, elderly pelvis, was intact. Otherwise he would have been unable to continue cultivating. After recuperating, they returned to the gates of Mulan Mountain. They spent the night discussing the treatment of the Wang family after they joined the 7 great sects. They originally wanted to share the same land holdings and treatment as the Northern Zhou family, including the various markets in the east and the dozen peaks of the Beast Hunter mountain range. However, several sect leaders clearly felt that this was inappropriate. The Wang family's current strength was far superior to that of the Northern Zhou family, and they feared that Wang De would disagree and cause unrest. However, these areas had already been occupied by the 7 great sects. After the Zhou family arrived, each sect had ceded some of their territory. Now, with the Wang family joining, they were expected to give up some of their territory again, a situation they naturally refused to accept. After much debate, there was no result. In particular, those sects without giant cultivators began to feel that this peaceful coexistence was gradually marginalizing them. Sects like the Destroying God sect, which carries a special mission, aren't that worried? Chapter 166 Yanling Pavilion. The argument continued until noon the next day, with some contention still lingering. However, Mulanzong was magnanimous and made many concessions, which helped to alleviate the controversy. As for Patriarch Zhou, he had always been on good terms with his 7 major sects. Although he wasn't of the Jinan realm, he was well aware of Wang's strength. Compared to any of his own third grandfathers, he was more than capable of crushing them. Therefore, he had no objection to the plan Mulanzong had assigned. They had now come up with a preliminary plan, and now it was up to the Wang family to see how they would react. Everyone dispersed and returned to their respective sects. Liu Yu, the head of Yanling Pavilion, the second most powerful of the 7 major sects, was quite surprised today, which led him to try to win over Wangda. Flying on his sword, Liu Yu, accompanied by 7 or 8 disciples, returned from Mulanzong to the mountain gate. The mountain gate of Yanling Pavilion was located near a large city in the east, nestled between a series of mountains. The city was called Yanling City, but it wasn't originally called that. It was renamed after the development of Yanling Pavilion. While the Yanling Pavilion's mountain gate is outside the city, the Yanling sect's headquarters is located within Yanling City itself. Originally, the Yanling Pavilion was a mortal power specializing in transactions between immortal cultivators and mortals. Its influence extended throughout the eastern region, and its wealth was unparalleled among the mortals there. Because of their frequent interactions with immortal cultivators, the 9 families within the Yanling Pavilion, along with their disciples and subordinates, visited relatives and friends, recruited disciples from various sects, and jointly established a prototype of the current Yanling Pavilion. They refused to send talented disciples to other sects. Thus, the Yanling Pavilion power in the world of immortal cultivation was born. The city's prosperity far surpassed that of a small county town like Kangentropy. Both mortals and cultivators walked through the city without distinction. Within the city, a towering tower reached into the sky. Despite its height, the tower was not large, but rather slender. Beneath the tower, 2 Yanling Pavilion disciples guarded the gate. Next to the tower, on the left, right, and back, there were courtyards on each side. Numerous thresholds stretched endlessly, stretching across 4 or 5 streets, creating a magnificent spectacle. Liu Yu flew directly over the tower, landing in a courtyard behind it. It was unclear if it had 5 or 7 entrances. As they landed, 4 maids approached, removed Liu Yu's robe, and helped him change into a new garment. They then collected their flying swords and handed him a fan. After a brief tidying up, Liu Yu spoke to the 7 or 8 disciples behind him. Gather all those above the rank of Hall Master for a meeting. Also notify all the elders in the city, the supreme elders in the mountain, and the core disciples. All must come to headquarters before noon. Yes. The disciples dispersed. Liu Yu entered the main hall. Seated alone at the main seat, he instructed the maids nearby. Tell the kitchen to prepare a feast. Slaughter one of the 3 flamingos sent by the Kayanigan sect for everyone. The maids hesitated at this. Of those 3 flamingos, only 1 remains now. Why, only 1? Liu Yu asked, frowning. 7th young master wanted to learn animal taming and was injured by 1, so he killed 1. Elder Jin captured the other and ate it. We only discovered it yesterday, the maid said. Liu Yu slapped his forehead. Kill the remaining 1. After the meeting, ask 7th young master to come see me. Yes. The maid withdrew. Another maid came up with a cup of tea, and another maid. At 10 p.m., the supervisors and elders from all departments of Yanling Pavilion had gathered. Upon hearing that the headmaster had returned from Mulan sect, they had summoned everyone and naturally rushed to the scene. The 36 seats in the hall were all occupied, with only 1 empty seat. Some were standing around, while others were discussing the situation. If you were to count the number of people, none of the 7 major sects, or even the entire eastern region, could match the Yanling sect's numbers. As a force of immortal cultivators that originated from mortal origins, the vast majority of them involve a vast number of individuals. Almost half of Yanling City is filled with Yanling sect members. Liu Yu, seated at the head of the group, remained silent for a moment. He glanced around, seeing no one had entered, and addressed his closest disciple nearby. Is everyone here? Everyone from the hall masters and above has arrived. The 3 grand elders are still in seclusion, breaking through to the golden core stage, and can't come. There wasn't room for them anyway, so where are the others? Liu Yu asked. All the major elders are here too. Only Elder Fang had something to do outside, too far away, and is still rushing back, the disciple said. Ignore him for now, close the door. Liu Yu said. The disciple behind him waved his hand, and two disciples walked out, closing it behind them and guarding the outside. Liu Yu looked up at the crowd, and a momentary silence fell. Yesterday, I went to the Wang family in Conjentropy Mountain with the 7 sect leaders and Patriarch Zhou. Liu Yu paused. Everyone below, hearing this, began to speculate. Wang's reputation had long spread throughout the Yanling sect, but it wasn't a confirmed fact, merely speculation passed around. The headmaster now gathered everyone, speculating that Wang truly possessed giant-level strength. For a moment, a flurry of discussion erupted. Liu Yu remained silent, waiting for a moment before continuing. Wang, though he currently possesses no cultivation, possesses the strength to annihilate an early giant-level cultivator. Furthermore, the Wang family now possesses the power to annihilate any of the 7 major sects. Liu Yu's words were not an exaggeration in the least. He had personally experienced the 8 diagrams formation, and of course, he shared these things simply to attract the disciples' attention. From now on, when Yanling sect disciples travel throughout the eastern region and encounter members of the Wang family, remember to treat them the same way as you would any of the other 6 sects. He spoke a great deal, but it was all just a warning. Then came the matter of the 3 divisions of Yanling sect. This was the result of a discussion with the Mulan sect. The eastern divisions were complex, and the destruction of Shangzong Valley and the 5 Spirits sect had only been less than 4 years. When the 7 major sects divided up these areas, some of them were even struggling to operate. So, giving up a few properties wasn't a big deal. His only concern was that the Wang family might be unhappy if they gave up those difficult-to-manage properties. Liu Yu gave many instructions, including assigning the management personnel for each of the 3 properties. They were to prepare and await the arrival of the Wang family. He then dismissed the external personnel. Only 35 elders remained in the hall, along with 17 or 18 core disciples. There were more elders than core disciples, and a closer look revealed that their cultivation levels varied. Some were only at the 5th or 6th level of key training, while others were at the 7th or 8th level. Only 5 or 6 were at the foundation establishment stage. The dozen or so core disciples, however, were all at the foundation establishment stage, yet they stood aside, allowing the less advanced elders to sit below. Chapter 167, Corpse Snatching Beast. The hall door closed once again. Inside, maids continued to arrive, carrying plates of food to each seated person. These were the flamingos Liu Yu had ordered slaughtered earlier. Each elder bowed in thanks, but the core disciples with high cultivation levels continued to stand around in disarray, clearly not having a place at the banquet. Is there anything you need to report during my absence? Liu Yu said, feeling a little more relaxed. These elders and core disciples were all high-ranking members of the Yanling sect. They glanced at each other, clearly not having a major issue. They had already handled the minor matters themselves. Master, the biggest issue now is the one in the deserted village. Old Fang hasn't returned yet, so I don't know how things are progressing, an older elder said. Liu Yu nodded. Since everything's fine, enjoy the feast. This flamingo was sent by the Kainigan sect. It's a 6th-rank exotic beast with delicious meat. After everyone finished eating, a man in his 20s appeared outside the main hall, followed by a dozen disciples. You all may disperse. I'll go see the sect master. The others dispersed, and the man entered the main hall. Old Fang, you're back late. We're almost done with the feast, Liu Yu quipped. Thank you for your consideration, sect master, but now's not the time for me to enjoy the feast. I still haven't found the last corpse-snatching beast, Old Fang said nervously. I accept the punishment willingly. Liu Yu frowned, his expression heavy. Now isn't the time to talk about punishment. If the corpse-snatching beast can't be found, I'm afraid it will cause a real mess. It's all my fault for being lazy and leaving the matter to a disciple. That disciple, like me, stole away to meet a female cultivator. I left a village massacre to a few outside servants, which is why a corpse-snatching beast escaped. The elder recounted his crime and punishment. Alright, tell me what you've found. This matter requires the mobilization of the entire sect to investigate. Just you guys searching in secret won't be of much use, Liu Yu said. Yes, based on our investigation in the deserted village, the one who killed those outside servants is likely a cultivator, and his cultivation must have exceeded the 5th level of key training. Corpse-snatching beasts have neither bestial nor demonic natures, and they use mortals as hosts. The cultivator must have mistaken those outsiders for mortal butchers. However, I suspect that those outside servants are also members of our Yanling sect. If they dared to kill them after invoking our name, they must be from a powerful force, Elder Fang said. You said they were from the 7 major sects? Liu Yu asked. It's possible. They could be from the Zhou family in the north, or one of the famous independent cultivators in the east. It's all possible, Elder Fang said. Although our unauthorized introduction of the corpse-snatching beast for research violated regulations, we can no longer hide this matter. If we wait until the corpse-snatching beast successfully invades its host and transforms into a demon, it will be too late. Liu Yu glanced at his disciples nearby. Go to the Mulan sect and explain the seriousness of the situation. Be sure to investigate the other 6 sects and find the abducted corpse-snatching beast. Elder Fang warned the disciple as he saw him leave. The host is a little girl, about 8 or 9. The disciple nodded and left. Liu Yu looked at another disciple. Go to the Zhou clan in the north. Yes, master. Your disciple also left. Liu Yu remained silent. An elder nearby asked, could it be Wangda from the Wang clan? Wangda? Liu Yu looked at him. According to the headmaster, Wangda was returning from the desert and happened to pass through our Yanling clan territory. I was just thinking about the terrain, and it seems there's a deserted village there, the elder said. If it's the Wang clan, I'll have to go there myself. They're just beginning to show their power, and sending a disciple there might be bad luck. Liu Yu thought for a moment. After saying that, Liu Yu prepared to go to the Wang family in person, and instructed several elders to ask those independent cultivators in the late foundation building stage. Speaking of the Wang family, after 3 days of recuperation, Wangda's bones finally felt a little better, but he still couldn't get out of bed. Especially now that he had no spiritual power, there was really no way to relieve the pain of his body. However, everyone in the Wang family had recovered long ago. Wangda had no choice but to arrange things in bed. The first thing was that Wang Zimin had spent hundreds of thousands of his spirit stones, leaving only 150,000. And the places where he spent the money were all useless to Wangda. Go to Hejifeng City to buy a shop, expand the spirit fields, and plant spirit rice. Wangda took back the spirit stones on the pretext of this matter, and asked him to stay in Qinjiantang and not to interfere in any external affairs. Wang Zimin didn't feel guilty. How could he have known Wangda would suddenly become so powerful, on par with the 7 great sects? Otherwise, he wouldn't have bought the shop. However, he had no objection to Wangda's punishment. He could stay in Qinjiantang, so be it. He didn't want to deal with outsiders, even though he had managed foreign affairs before. Then, he went to the 7 great sects to discuss joining. Wangda didn't plan to go in person. His own system, the 5 elements and 8 trigrams formation, had already cooled down, but it couldn't be used on someone else's territory. So, Wangda didn't take over the position of clan leader, leaving Wang Lin in the fold. He dispatched Wang Lin and Wang Liaor to the Mulan sect. Their demands were simple. If they asked for more, they wouldn't give it. And if they had more assets, there was no one in the Wang family to manage them. But they still had to ask for what they offered. As for things like defending the eastern part, prohibiting internal strife, and obeying the orders of the 7 great sects, those were naturally things he had to abide by. After all, his current abilities were limited to defending his own clan. If he really wanted to fight outsiders, he wouldn't be able to. Of course, this wasn't confirmed. Firstly, it wasn't clear if this system could be used by outsiders. Secondly, if you were to take a family member elsewhere, the system should work. If they wanted to fight, then fight. After all, the 7 major sects were still in charge of the eastern region, which was a good thing for him. At least he had someone to deal with the northeastern forces and the Xiannian sect to the south. Another day passed, and Wang Lin and Wang Liaoru hadn't set out yet. Qin did come over. Master, the little girl you asked me to look after has woken up. How is she? Wangda asked from his bed. She doesn't seem to be fully conscious. And her speech is sometimes clear, sometimes not, Qin replied. Take good care of her. She's one of my benefactors, isn't she? Wangda said. Qin nodded. I certainly will. I tested her spiritual roots this morning, and they were mid-grade. I can let her cultivate in our Wang family from now on. That's great. I was just wondering how I'd repay her. Wang Da glanced at the soul-devouring seed in the stored ring again. Qin Yi retreated, and Wang Da took another pill to ease the pain. Speaking of Qin Yi, after leaving, he returned to his own yard. The little girl was fiddling with flowers and plants in the yard. Qin Yi smiled and was about to go over, but his body and mind trembled. Demon. Chapter 168, Demonic Transformation. The demon-devouring art instantly filled Qin Yi's mind. He was unusually sensitive to demons. He sensed something was amiss with the little girl, but she looked nothing but immortal. Big brother, I want to eat meat, the little girl said, pretending to turn around. Qin Yi saw her face and shook his head. The feeling had vanished. He could only think he was being overly sensitive. Okay, but you're immortal now, you can't eat animal meat. I'll go get you a pheasant. Qin Yi replied. No, I want to eat. The little girl's confusion returned, her body swaying and swaying. Qin Yi reached forward, picked her up, and prepared to carry her into the house. Buzz! Another invisible sensation. A demon. Is she a demon? The sensation faded, and Qin Yi shook his head again. She was his master's benefactor, how could she be a demon? Qin Yi flew to Qing'an, to the private school at the foot of the mountain. Greetings, gentlemen. Master Qin, greetings, one of the gentlemen said with a bow. I just smelled a delicious aroma in midair, so I came down to take a look. Sure enough, I saw you two gentlemen cooking meat. Qin Yi said with a smile. Since Immortal Qin is here, let's share some, the gentleman said. It's not that I want to eat it, but someone in the mountains is craving it. I was planning to look for some in the nearby mountains, but I didn't expect you to have any here, so I'll ask for some. This wild boar originally came down from the nearby mountain and ran into the private school. We couldn't do anything, so we called a few of the students down and tamed it. It was a good treat for us, and now we have some left, so we'll give it to you. The gentleman put down his chopsticks, went into the inner room, and took out a hind leg, handing it to Qin Yi. Qin Yi took it and headed straight back up the mountain. In the yard, Qin Yi lit a fire and sliced it with a knife, preparing to roast it and give it to the little girl when she woke up. But just as the flames began to rise, dark clouds gathered over Congentropi Mountain, suggesting rain. Wang Lin and Wang Zimin also observed the gathering clouds, but could see nothing amiss. Wang Da was resting in the hall, so he naturally had no idea. Only Wang Zi, after watching for a while, immediately realized what was happening and rushed into the hall. Clan leader, are you going to undergo a tribulation? I'm not a clan leader now, Wang Lin is. Besides, how can I undergo a tribulation in my current state? Wang Da looked at Wang Zi, who rushed in, puzzled. Wang Zi looked at Wang Da, and seeing that he was still unable to move, she rushed out again. In the sky, lightning and thunder flashed among the dark clouds. Wang Zimin and Wang Lin also realized something was wrong. When they arrived outside the hall, they ran into Wang Zi. If it's not you two, then it must be Qin Yi. Isn't he only at the 5th level of key training? How could he possibly undergo a tribulation? Wang Zi muttered to herself. A tribulation? Is this a thunder tribulation? Wang Lin asked in surprise. Yes, if it's really Qin Yi, undergoing a tribulation so unprepared, he's almost certain to die. Wang Zi said. The three looked over and saw that, right in the center of the dark clouds, was Qin Yi's courtyard. Is this Qin Yi really going to undergo a tribulation? The three panicked. Wang Da heard the shouting outside and forced himself to make his way out, holding onto the wall. Then he heard Wang Zi's words. The three of them supported Wang Da and flew to Qin Yi's house. Why are you grilling? Wang Da asked. Why can't I? Qin Yi was puzzled. Aren't you the one undergoing a tribulation? Wang Zi asked. Tribulation? What tribulation? Qin Yi remained puzzled. Boom. A flash of white light streaked across Congentropi Mountain and landed in Qin Yi's house. Qin Yi's house was instantly destroyed and reduced to rubble. My house. Qin Yi shouted. My contribution. Wang Da cried in his heart. Are you all sick? Why do you always have to tear down houses? The house collapsed, revealing the silhouette of a little girl. It's a demon. Qin Yi shouted, now certain. It's the demon transformation tribulation. Stop her. Wang Zi shouted almost simultaneously. Wang Zi rushed forward, but Qin Yi looked at Wang Da. Wang Da didn't hesitate. Go stop her. Qin Yi also rushed forward. A thunderstorm struck, and the dark clouds in the sky dissipated. There's only one demon transformation tribulation, and she's in a weakened state right now. Wang Zi swung her sword. The little girl's eyes were filled with ferocity. She extended her arms, scattering the sword energy, revealing 5 fingers that slashed at Wang Zi. Wang Zi dodged to the side, swung her sword, and charged forward. Qin Yi then shouted, "Demon Devourer!" Boom! His clothes ripped apart, and Qin Yi's expression was even more terrifying than the little girl's. The little girl took Wang Zi's blow directly, demonic energy surging as he clashed with Wang Zi, crushing her. Clearly, even in her weakened state, the demon was far more powerful than Wang Zi. Qin Yi's fangs were sharp, and he lunged at her without a clear plan. The little girl frowned. A Qin family member? Damn! Is her luck so bad? Bang! With one strike, Qin Yi's hands transformed into claws, slashing across the little girl's face, leaving 5 gashes. To outsiders, Qin Yi now looked more like a demon. You know the Qin family? Qin Yi struck down, and it was clear that the demon was no match for his demon-devouring technique. How could I not know the Qin family? Our clan lives in Yanzhou, the little girl said. Yanzhou? Then why did you come here? Qin Yi asked. I was going to ask you something. We're already in Yanzhou, so why did we run into the Qin family? You didn't come all this way just to hunt us down, did you? The little girl asked. Are you saying there are still Qin family cultivators in Yanzhou? Qin Yi asked. If you hadn't used the demon-devouring technique, I would have suspected you were a Qin family member. If not in Yanzhou, where else could the Qin family be? Could there be a Qin family branch in Yanzhou? The little girl asked, puzzled. Qin Yi pondered for a moment. Can you tell me about the Qin family in Yanzhou? The little girl was stunned. Promise to let me go, and I'll tell you everything I know. Qin Yi turned to look at Wang De. Wang De covered his face in silence. This disciple was indeed a reckless man. Why didn't you agree to her first, wait until she told you, and then eat her? But Wang De couldn't speak directly to Qin Yi at this point, so he had to speak out. Tell me what you say. I promise to let you go. He's my disciple, he'll definitely listen to me. How pathetic. When did the Qin family stoop to worshipping such trash as their master? The little girl sighed. Don't talk about my master. Qin Yi flew into a rage, charging forward and striking again. The little girl was stunned, unable to speak. Qin Yi's attack was too fierce, and the demon-devouring technique completely suppressed it. Now all she could do was dodge and defend herself. You, don't do anything yet. Snap. A single claw struck, and without a word, Qin Yi slashed down, devouring the little girl completely. Wang De was speechless. What a reckless man. What Wang Lianru had said was absolutely right. Returning to normal, Qin Yi sat cross-legged for a moment, digesting the demon's flesh and blood. Then he walked back to Wang De. Master, please punish me. I'll eat your benefactor. Wang De remained silent for a long time, pointing to his head. Learn more from your master Wang Lin, but don't learn the bad things. Help me back. Wang Zimin and Wang Zi supported Wang Defei as he flew back. Qin Yi stood up and grabbed Wang Lin, who was about to fly away. Master Wang Lin, is it because I killed your benefactor that he's angry? Wang Lin stopped. You're too impulsive. Think before you act. Don't be so straightforward. Learn to deceive people and monsters. Lie? Deceive monsters? No, Master said I can't learn bad things from you. The last time I went to Liangsing Tower with you. Qin Yi said. That's not bad, it's... Wang Lin sat down and talked to Qin Yi for a long time. Chapter 169 Yanling City. That evening, someone from Congentrapy Mountain came to visit. It was none other than Liu Yu, the head of the Yanling sect. Wang De was bedridden, unable to move, and therefore unable to get up, so Wang Lin was sent to greet him, explaining that Wang De was in seclusion. Although Liu Yu was curious about Wang De's return and how Wang Lin could still be the clan leader, he didn't want to get too involved in other clan affairs. He simply relayed the story of the corpse-snatching beast and explained its terrifying nature. It turned out that the corpse-snatching beast was a unique creature imported from another province by the Yanling Pavilion. It uses mortals as its hosts and feeds on them. In its beastly form, it remains within the human body, coexisting with its host. If unnoticed, even the most advanced cultivators would be unable to detect it and would simply treat it as immortal. Upon reaching a certain stage of cultivation, it will devour its host, transforming into a demon, completely possessing it. Therefore, whether in its beastly form or its transformed form, it is the same as immortal. Furthermore, it can mate with mortals, allowing it to reproduce indefinitely. Moreover, Once this beast transforms into a demon, its strength will rapidly increase. Even now, Liu Yu, recalling his battle with the mature corpse-snatching beast, still feels a pang of fear, which is why he ordered the village massacre to prevent future trouble. "Did you import this corpse-snatching beast from Yanzhou?" Qin Yi asked, standing behind Wang Lin in the hall. Liu Yu glanced at Qin Yi, who had defeated Bai Xiao in the 8 formation diagram, and made no secret. "Indeed, Yanzhou faces us across the sea, but it's closest to us to the east. Our Yanling sect also enjoys studying these strange things, which is why we imported this terrifying creature." Qin Yi waited for Liu Yu to finish his question before speaking again. "So you know a lot about Yanzhou? Yanzhou's forces are no less powerful than our Yizhou's, and are also quite complex. Our sect doesn't know much about them either," Liu Yu said. Qin Yi didn't ask any more questions. Upon hearing this, Wang Lin took Liu Yu to Qin Yi's residence and told him everything. Liu Yu felt a little relieved. As long as the corpse-snatching beasts were gone, that was enough. If they had escaped, the mortals in the east would have been slaughtered. And with the strength of the corpse-snatching beasts, the east would be even more vulnerable to the beast tide. Wang Lin apologized on Wang's behalf and exchanged pleasantries before Liu Yu left. Qin Yi, knowing his father was from Yanzhou, felt a tinge of curiosity. But he didn't say much, keeping it to himself. Another day passed, and light snow fell. Wang Lin and Wang Liao went to the Mulan sect. Wang De had almost recovered and was inspecting various clan affairs. Wang Zimin had steered the clan's development astray for the past 6 months, and now he needed to bring it back. Wang Zimin naturally didn't dare to say much, but he was also stubborn. He did what Wang De told him to do, refusing to admit his mistakes. Wang De had no choice but to let him do what he wanted. Wang Lin and Wang Liao, on the other hand, didn't have high cultivation levels. The journey alone took them 2 or 3 days to arrive. Seeing Wang De's absence, the Mulan sect members didn't neglect him, entertaining the two for a long time. Bai Xiao even met with him personally. The two men's discussions at Mulan sect lasted 10 days. The details were countless, and Wang Lin, despite his extensive knowledge, was quite amazed. Fortunately, Wang Liao was present and able to handle the situation. Back at Gengentropy, Wang De had already uprooted all the excess spiritual fields, leaving them abandoned, leaving only 3 or 4. These were planted with the spiritual herbs Wang De had originally intended to cultivate. While the others were preparing for next year's recruitment, he and Qin Yu were taking time off to visit Yanling Pavilion and learn about his seal. The last time Liu Yu visited alone, he was still bedridden. Although the Wang family was now striving for dominance in the east, his lack of cultivation remained a major risk. If this wasn't addressed, what he had gained would eventually be lost. He collected contributions and checked the system. Clan location, Gengentropy Mountain. Clan head, Wang Lin. Clan size, level 5. Clan rank, low rank. Clan members, 60. Clan contributions, 1082. Clan reputation, 6281. Clan reputation had increased significantly, likely due to the members of the 7 major sects reporting back to their own sects. This increase of over 1,000 reputation points was the result. Reputation can only be passively increased. Wang De couldn't directly intervene, and there was no way to increase it in a short period of time. However, Wang De had tasted the sweetness of these 2 increases in reputation alone. This formation was incredibly powerful. While it was only a temporary increase in power, it was undoubtedly a formidable weapon. He clicked on the various secondary interfaces again. Aside from Qin Yi's house requiring another contribution upgrade, other areas remained relatively unchanged. The family had grown slightly, thanks to the spirit stones Wang Zimin had spent, but it was a negligible increase. For a level 5 clan, upgrading was too difficult. Qin Yi and Wang De left Gengentropy. Wang Lin and the others hadn't returned yet. They flew all the way to Yanling Pavilion in 1 day. Thinking back to that day, it took him about 10 days to walk back. Prosperous and flourishing, these 4 words best describe Yanling City. The streets were bustling with pedestrians, the cries of hawkers rang out incessantly, and the immortals and mortals alike mingled as one. Wang De and his companions, having arrived in another city, found it difficult to fly their swords, so they had to enter on foot. As they passed through, they found this place quite unique. Numerous cultivators at the first level of key training were practically indistinguishable from mortals. A few at the second level, likewise, were also indistinguishable from mortals. While mortals were indeed fewer, they were treated no differently. As the two men looked around, they heard a sharp cry. Ah! The people on the street looked over to see two men, one fat and one thin, standing by the roadside. The thin man covered his hand. "Why the hell did you bite me?" Sorry, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't help myself while chatting," the fat man said. The thin man spat and distanced himself from the fat man. "Okay, time to get to work." The onlookers dispersed, and the excitement they had hoped to enjoy was over. Only Wang and Qin Yi felt something was amiss and stared at them. "Fellow Daoists, are you from outside?" The thin man noticed they were staring at him and realized he was unfamiliar. He called them over. "Well, what advice do you have?" Wang asked. "No, I don't have any. It's just that since you're new to Yanling City, if you're willing to spend a few spirit stones, I can be your guide. If you'd like to buy or sell anything, I have everything." The thin man continued his sales pitch. Wang understood his point and waved his hand. "We're here for business, not to buy or sell." "To do business?" the man asked. Wang nodded. "Then you've met the right person. My nickname is the Inquirer. No matter where or who in the city, I know everything," the man said. "We don't need to look for the person we're looking for," Wang said. "Who is that?" the man asked. "The headmaster of Yanling Pavilion, Liu," Wang said. "I see you two. One is only at the 5th level of key training, and the other is immortal. You want to see our master?" "Who are you?" the man asked in surprise. Qin Yi, who was watching from the side, couldn't stand it anymore and spoke up. "Master, why are you wasting time with him? Let's get going." Wang waved his hand and was about to ask the man in front of him, but he saw the man in front of him looking at Qin Yi with anger in his eyes. A mere 5th level key training cultivator dares to come to Yanling City and act so presumptuously? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Spirit Demon. So what if I'm being presumptuous? Even your headmaster wouldn't dare be so rude to my master, Qin Yi said loudly. Wang tried to dissuade him, but the man raged. "What a boast. You're just a mortal," he said, taking a step back. The street was crowded, so the man shouted. "How dare these two outsiders insult the headmaster?" With that, the pedestrians, clearly members of the Yanling sect, stopped and surrounded the two men. "You rude man!" Wang cursed, and Qin Yi sensed something was amiss. Soon, a group of people wearing matching Taoist robes approached. "What's going on?" they asked, led by an elderly woman, followed by a group of male and female disciples. The slender man from before hurried over, flattering. "Master, these two outsiders are being rude and insulting the headmaster in the street." "When did I ever insult Liu?" Qin Yi exclaimed, furious. "Calling the headmaster by his name, and you still dare to say it's not an insult," the man said. Wang slapped his forehead. Qin Yi was too young. He should be allowed to gain more experience. Stepping forward, Wang bowed. "We didn't insult sect leader Liu. Please forgive us. We are young." Seeing Wang back down, the woman, instead of listening to his words, grew even more aggressive. "No need to discuss anything else. Let's capture him first," Wang sighed helplessly. The other party had already attacked. Qin Yi unsheathed his flying sword and attacked. Swish! 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 A few strikes landed, and all the disciples fell to the ground, unharmed. I didn't expect a key training level 5 disciple to be so powerful. Even a key training level 7 disciple couldn't match him. "It seems you two have some strength," the woman said, unsheathing her flying sword and charging forward. Key training level 9. Bang! Qin Yi deflected the flying sword. He raised his hand and met her palm. The woman was horrified. This key training level 5 disciple had fought against her, and she hadn't even gained the slightest advantage. "Stop." Boom. A man landed directly between the two. "Senior brother Liu, you've arrived just in time. Capture them," the woman warned. Wang and Qin Yi were also a little nervous. This man was actually a Foundation establishment cultivator. If they started fighting, they'd probably have to unleash the Bagua formation, and there was no guarantee they'd be able to stop him. It would also expose the limitation of their power, which could only be unleashed within the mountain gate. Shut up, the man scolded. He turned to look at Wang and the others. You too, my junior sister is truly rude. Please forgive me. It's nothing serious. It's just that this person trying to sow discord is truly despicable. Wang said casually. The man glanced at the thin man next to the woman. It's our fault for not disciplining us properly. I will punish them severely now. My master has been waiting for a long time. Please follow me. Wang nodded and followed him. The group reached a courtyard and palace behind the city's tower. The man handed the matter over to the maid inside and withdrew. The woman behind him hurriedly asked, "Who are these two?" "From Congentropi Mountain, the Wang family. The man you just fought was the one who knocked out Mulan sects by Zhongjiao with a single blow," the man said. "Ah," the woman panicked. "No wonder he looks only at the 5th level of key training, yet he held his own against me." "Yes, Master said we can't judge the Wang family by appearances. That seemingly mortal is Wang, the head of the Wang family. I've heard he can kill a giant and cultivator from the Mulan sect." "Thank you, Patriarch Wang. I'm sorry for not welcoming you." Liu Yu personally walked outside the hall to greet him. "Master Liu Yu, you're honored." The two exchanged pleasantries. Wang simply felt that this palace built within the city was quite imposing, and it was filled with a large number of people. Wang had seen no fewer than 400 or 500 people along his journey, disciples in Taoist robes, maids, and guards. Knowing Wang had come regarding the seal, Liu Yu didn't waste any time, simply ordering his disciples to take the two of them outside the city, to the Yanling sect's mountain gate, to seek out Elder Jin. Wang was about to leave when he recalled what he had witnessed in the city and asked, "Master Liu, was the corpse-snatching beast I took last time the last one?" Liu Yu nodded. "We've been keeping this beast in the deserted village. The little girl you kidnapped must be the last one." "Why do you ask, Patriarch Wang?" "I just saw something strange in this city, so I warned you," Wang said. "In the city?" Liu Yu pondered for a long time. "An adult did escape from the deserted village some time ago. We tracked it all the way to this city, where I fought a fierce battle and slew it." "Did this adult hide in the city?" Wang asked. "Not at all. We tracked it all the way to the city, and it never left our sight," Liu Yu asked. "Perhaps I'm just being overly suspicious," Wang replied. Liu Yu's mind sank. Wang and the other two followed Liu Yu's disciple out of the city and out into the open. A towering mountain range stretched endlessly. Approaching, it appeared not to be a single, continuous natural range, but rather a complex, artificial formation of numerous peaks imbued with spiritual energy. A crisscrossing azure light emanated from the mountain, and the concentration of spiritual energy varied greatly. Entering from the mountain gate, it seemed that the Yanling sect's mountain range had no rules prohibiting sword control. Or perhaps, the peaks were so far apart that the disciples there were simply flying. The disciple led Wang and the other two directly to a central peak. Unlike the other peaks, the mountain was shrouded in azure light. Instead, it was filled with a gloomy atmosphere. Crows flew everywhere, and the disciples in the air avoided this peak, daring not to approach. Liu Yu's disciple, however, didn't hesitate and led Wang straight up. "The three elders here have rather peculiar personalities. We should just go find Elder Jin." With a warning, the disciple led the two up the mountain. A small, elegant courtyard, seemingly unremarkable from the outside, was filled with a stench. The courtyard was filthy and messy, with stains of unknown origin emanating a foul odor. "Elder Jin, Master asked me to bring them to you to inquire about the soul-devouring seed," the disciple said respectfully. "Oh. Got it. You may return," Elder Jin said, and the disciple withdrew. Apparently, Liu Yu had greeted Elder Jin before. "Patriarch Wang, I'm honored." "Senior Jin, I'm honored." Wang returned the greeting, paying no attention to his surroundings. Qin Yi, however, clutched his nose, unable to bear the unpleasant odor. The three of them entered the house, where the stench worsened, overwhelming the air. Qin Yi nearly vomited. Wang reprimanded him, telling him to stand guard outside. Qin Yi quickly fled the scene. "If you don't mind, could you please let me see your seal?" Elder Jin asked directly upon seeing Qin Yi leave. Wang lowered his hand, and Elder Jin's spiritual power began to fill him. "It's indeed a soul-devouring species. Did Patriarch Wang get this seal in the Huangpo ruins in the desert?" Elder Jin asked. "Exactly." Wang was overjoyed upon hearing this. The master of the Huangpo ruins is a tree demon. Do you know his origins? Elder Jin kept it a secret. Wang De shook his head. There are 4 demon tribes in this desert, all of them share the same origin, spirit demons. Elder Jin said. Spirit demons? Wang De was curious, unsure of what this meant. Chapter 171 The End of the Predecessors. Yes, I've been studying them for over 50 years, including 4 trips to the desert. Those who accompanied me back then are now mostly dead, with only 2 or 3 still alive, Elder Jin said. Wang De bowed again. Please enlighten me, senior. So-called spirit monsters aren't ordinary beasts transformed into monsters, but rather spirit creatures transformed into monsters. They're not ordinary monsters. So-called spirit creatures are inanimate objects. Magical weapons, flying swords, and even elixirs are all considered spirit creatures, even the most basic ones, Elder Jin said. Can spirit creatures transform into monsters? Wang De was quite curious. Yes, before I got to know them, I couldn't believe it. This name for spirit monsters is something I found in the territory of the 9 Heavens' mysterious Immortal Palace in the central region. Although the desert realm is located in the eastern region, the strength of the spirit monsters there is enough to arouse the 9 Heavens' mysterious Immortal Palace's curiosity. Therefore, there are many in the central region like me who are interested in the desert and spirit monsters. They possess a wealth of information, so they know more than we do. But even so, what they know isn't much, at least about what I know now, Elder Jin said. So, do these spirit monsters have any special abilities? Wang De asked. You've hit the nail on the head. This spirit monster is a general term, not just referring to the demons of the eastern desert. There are spirit monsters in other states as well. Speaking of the 4 tribes of spirit monsters in the desert, the abilities I've learned about alone have one truly terrifying one, regeneration. Even a lowly demon, even if injured, shattered, or even with a broken limb, head, or heart, can be reborn as long as their demon core remains intact. Elder Jin said. Wang De thought of Zisuo and the others, as well as the 2 boys. He hadn't expected them to possess such abilities. Besides, this soul-devouring beast is unique to that tree demon. Elder Jin said. Even within the 9 Heavens' profound Immortal Palace, or indeed other states, there's no record of this beast. Unique, does that mean only the tree demon possesses the soul-devouring seed? Wang De asked. Yes, I don't know about places further away. As far as I know, only that tree demon possesses it, Elder Jin said. So what's the solution? Wang De asked. Do you have the soul-devouring seed? Elder Jin asked. Yes, Wang De replied. As expected. Elder Jin said. Over the past 100 years, of the 13 people who emerged from Huangpo ruins, 3 have obtained astonishing magical weapons, 2 have been reduced to mortals, their danshin abolished, and the remaining 8 have had their cultivation sealed. Each of them received a soul-devouring seed to remove the seal. Wang De was now even more delighted. He hadn't expected to hear about other people whose cultivation had been sealed. Have any of these 8 been able to break the seal? Yes, 7 of them have successfully broken the seal and restored their cultivation, Elder Jin said. Wang De was overjoyed. 7 of the 8 had broken the seal. Clearly, the odds were quite high. Don't be overjoyed. Just listen to me, Elder Jin said. These 8 people have different circumstances. 3 of them aren't Eastern cultivators, and I don't know much about them, but the other 5 are Eastern cultivators. Did all 5 successfully break the seal? Wang De asked. One didn't, and remained sealed until his death. The other 4 all did. 2 of them were broken at the end of their lives, leaving them with no time to cultivate and ultimately passing away. One of the other 2 is the renowned founder of the 5 Spirits sect, Guzing, Elder Jin said. Founder of the 5 Spirits sect? Wang De asked curiously. Yes, his soul-devouring seed not only sealed his cultivation, but also possessed 5 powerful beasts. With the help of these 5 powerful beasts, Guzing founded his own sect, naming it the 5 Spirits, a nod to the beasts. Unfortunately, over the following decades, despite plundering territory and winning battles, even rivaling the established and powerful Shangzongu, the 5 Spirit sect ultimately lacked the necessary resources and was defeated by Shangzongu. Elder Jin recounted the past, recounting many details. What about the other person? Wang De asked. The other one is me. Elder Jin said. You? Wang De asked. Yes, I grew up in a village outside the city. Back then, Yanling Pavilion was still a mortal organization, just beginning to transition into an immortal cultivation sect, so they were recruiting disciples everywhere. I was tested to be talented, so I rose through the ranks, cultivated, and became a hallmaster. Later, while on a mission, I accidentally entered the Huangpo ruins in the desert, and my dungeon was sealed. Since then, I've been searching for information about the desert, the spirit monsters, and the soul-devouring seeds. This habit has lasted for over 20 years. Even after I lifted the seal, I haven't changed, and I've been studying the desert and the spirit monsters, Elder Jin said. So, how did you lift the seal? Wang asked. It took me over 20 years to lift the seal, and as a result, I'm only a cultivator at the 10th level of key training, unable to break through to the foundation establishment stage, Elder Jin said. Senior, didn't you say before that the founder of the 5 Spirit sect achieved the status of Lord of the East by relying on the 5 exotic beasts sealed within the soul-devouring seed? Does your soul-devouring seed contain anything else? Wang asked. Yes, this one. Elder Jin pointed, and Wang looked over. It turned out to be a giant beetle. You may not know this, but this tree demon has an inexplicable hatred for certain exotic beasts. Most of the beasts sealed within the soul-devouring seed are exotic beasts, many of which are unseen in the eastern region, or even in the entire Yizhao. Besides my cultivation, the only thing left in my soul-devouring seed is this beetle. I've raised it for decades, and I've always believed it possessed powerful abilities, but it's never displayed them. All it does is eat shit, and bring back stinky things. Elder Jin's words were captivating, and Wang finally understood why his family always stank. Wang took a closer look. The beetle had no other distinctive features besides its enormous size. It had a single horn, and it was clearly quite tough. There's no reason why the 5 exotic beasts sealed within Gu Xing's soul-devouring seed would be so powerful. The beasts within my soul-devouring seed are just like this. Elder Jin said, covering his face. Perhaps this is just a prank by the tree demon? Wang asked tentatively. Impossible. Even those 2 nearing their doom had powerful beasts sealed within their soul-devouring seeds. It's just that their cultivation wasn't high. So they couldn't accomplish anything significant, Elder Jin said. So, it's possible that a beast is also sealed within my soul-devouring seed? Wang asked. Chapter 172 Responsibilities. Well, there might be more than one, Elder Jin replied. He then led Wang to the side. It was a backyard, clearly protected by a formation. There was no trace of spiritual energy inside, only a few weeds and a small sapling. Wait, let me gather my spiritual energy. It doesn't matter if you don't have any. Elder Jin began to gather his energy and took another pill, finally releasing all his spiritual energy. He led Wang inside, to the sapling. This is the soul-devouring tree. Did it yours already grow? What about this one? Wang asked. It's from someone else. That person's been dead for 5 or 6 years. After he died, I spent a lot of money to transplant this soul-devouring tree from their family, Elder Jin said. Wang then remembered what he had said before. 5 people in the East had their cultivation sealed by the soul-devouring seed, and 1 person had never had it released. This sapling is already quite large. How long will it take for it to grow? Wang asked. This one isn't growing anymore. I wonder if the person whose cultivation was sealed is dead, which is why the tree can't grow, Elder Jin said. I'm still keeping it, simply because I want to study it further, hoping to discover something. So, it wouldn't take decades to grow this soul-devouring seed? Wang asked. Yes, it took me 20 years. The other 2 from the East took 26 years, and the other over 40. Only Gu Xing managed to grow it in just a few months, Elder Jin said. So how did he do it? Wang asked curiously. I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't have spent over 20 years. Elder Jin said. Gu Xing has been dead for over a decade. I can't ask him now. If he hadn't died, the 5 Spirit sect wouldn't have been destroyed. The 2 chatted for a while, and Wang learned what little he knew about cultivating this soul-devouring seed. They chatted until evening, and Wang observed the beetle more closely. But it was just an ordinary first-level alien beast, nothing extraordinary. Wang took his leave, leaving behind Elder Jin's transmission talisman. Elder Jin also wanted to understand and observe the entire process of Wang cultivating the soul-devouring seed, so he stayed. Wang naturally agreed, exchanged pleasantries, and then prepared to leave with Wang. Down the mountain, disciple Liu Yu had been waiting. When Wang De came down, he greeted him again. Master asked me to escort you two out of the mountain gate, fearing any more troublemakers. Thank you very much, Wang De replied. The three of them flew out of the mountain gate, passing through the area and directly exiting the Yanling Pavilion. Master also said that if Patriarch Wang has any questions about management, he can always come to our Yanling sect. While our Yanling sect isn't the strongest in the East, in terms of numbers and management, we are unparalleled in the region, the disciple said. If you encounter any problems, be sure to come and ask for advice. Wang De replied, and then left with Qin Yi. The two of them walked along and returned directly to Conjentropy. By then, Wang Lin and Wang Liaoru had both returned. In the main hall, Wang Lin and the others had been waiting for a long time. Wang De took the main seat, with Wang Zimin to his left and Wang Lin to his right. Wang Zi sat in Wang Zimin's subordinate seat, while Qin Yi sat in Wang Lin's. Wang Liaoru also sat in Qin Yi's subordinate seat. Outside, Wang Tao stood guard at the door. What did Mu Linzong say? Wang De looked at Wang Lin, then at Wang Liaoru. He's talked too much? I can't make sense of it. Let him speak. Wang Lin waved his hand, clearly struggling to organize his words. Everyone turned to Wang Liaoru. Wang Liaoru pulled a booklet from the high-end storage ring he had just purchased. 2 points. Wang Liaoru said, flipping through a few pages. First, the benefits gained. Second, the responsibilities. Wang De smiled. Okay, clear and concise. Continue. Wang Liaoru's expression remained serious as he flipped through the pages. Let's talk about the second point first. There are 3 major areas. The first one stretches from the territory governed by the Kainigun sect in the west, to the territory governed by the Zhou clan in the north, to the coastal area in the east, and to the Chisha River in the south. There are a total of 31 factions, 20 clans, 7 small sects, 1 large sect, 1 independent cultivator faction from Fanqiu Mountain, another from Fansheng, and our own Conjentropy Wang clan. These 31 factions will be managed by our Wang clan from now on, managing peaceful affairs, resolving conflicts, and so on. 3 of these small clans, because they didn't go south to attend the promised battle, are now affiliated with the Mulin sect and are no longer under our jurisdiction. 28 factions? We want to manage them? Our Wang clan only has 60 people in total, how can we manage them? Wang Zimin said in disbelief. Wang Lin patted his head. More than that. Let's see what the clan leader says. If not, we'll refuse. Forget about those benefits. Don't be afraid. Problems are always solved by people. Besides, you're the clan leader now, not me. Wang De said. That's not difficult, Wang Liaoru interrupted. I don't think it's difficult either. Please continue, Wang De said. Wang Liaoru continued flipping through the pages. Secondly, the 7 major clans, including the Zhou family, the Wang family, and the 9 factions, will advance and retreat together, discuss eastern affairs together, jointly resist foreign enemies, and develop harmoniously. Put it simply. Wang De interrupted. Even when encountering foreign affairs, everyone should discuss it together. Don't act alone. Obey the arrangements of the 7 major clans, unite against foreign enemies, and avoid internal strife. So, from now on, the clan leader should visit Mulin sect frequently. Wang Liaoru said. I won't go. From now on, you two will go, Wang Lin and Liaoru, Wang De said. The affairs of the 7 major clans are all major matters, and most of them are foreign affairs. How dare we make the decision? Wang Liaoru said. So you can't go alone. Wang Lin must go with you, Wang De said. I don't dare make the decision either. Wang Lin said. They both looked at Wang De. You're hesitant to make the decision, mainly because you don't know my strength. I'll be honest with you about this. As for the 8 diagrams, you've seen it before. You know its capabilities better than I do. Your brain is more effective than mine when it comes to matters, Wang De said. I'm young, and I don't dare take on such a heavy responsibility. Wang Liaoru said. When did you become so modest? If I say you can do it, you can do it. I have other things to do, and they won't be resolved quickly. You're absolutely essential for this matter, Wang De said. Wang Liaoru nodded helplessly. I will definitely live up to the clan leader's trust. I'm not the clan leader now. Wang Lin is the clan leader. Stop calling me names. Let's talk about a third item. Wang De said. Yes, Clan Leader. Wang Liaoru flipped back again. Chapter 173 Benefits. The third task, and the most difficult, is to join forces with the other two of the 7 major sects to resist the sea beasts along the coast. Sea beasts along the coast? Wang Zi asked. Wang Liaoru continued to flip through the pages. Yes, it's not appropriate to meddle in matters outside your jurisdiction. Our eastern part of Yizhao is surrounded by the sea, and there's an entire coastline to the east. We knew that before, but we rarely heard about these sea beasts. I've also learned a lot from Mulan sect and other places. The sea beasts along the coast can compare to the exotic beasts in the Beast Hunter Mountains, both in strength and numbers. However, sea beasts are powerful and abundant, and they are a valuable resource. Let's put aside the issue of resources for now. With our family's current strength and numbers, let alone whether we can win the battle, even if we send people to garrison the coast. Wang Zimin said. That's a problem. The coastline is so long, and the sea beasts don't come from a single place. It's really not that easy to defend against them, Wang De said. I've also researched this. The coastline in our area was previously guarded by Mulan sect. Almost all of their followers were at the 8th level of key training, with 5 foundation establishment cultivators stationed there. To defend it, we'll need at least 3 foundation establishment cultivators. If we encounter powerful sea beasts, we can ask the clan leader to take over. I've also bought a lot of time. The 7 major sects promised us that we'll take over this coastline by the middle of next year. With 6 months, I think we'll have a solution, Wang Liaoru said. Only 6 months? Wang De muttered to himself. Master Wang Lin and I are merely making decisions on behalf of the clan leader. Ultimately, the decision rests with the clan leader himself. Let me discuss the benefits the 7 major sects have given us, namely, the various properties across the eastern region. First, the independent cultivators in Fancheng. After we take over, we can collect a certain amount of spirit stones as a management fee, approximately 600,000 spirit stones annually. However, managing such a large independent cultivator force in Fancheng would require more than 100 or 80 people. Furthermore, there are 5 or 6 independent cultivators in the foundation establishment stage in Fancheng. Without a cultivator at or above the middle foundation establishment stage, this would be difficult. The rest are the various properties within our jurisdiction. These include Heiji Market, the Wuxi Mountain Mines, Maoguang Peak and the Lai Beast Mountain Range, the spiritually rich Mishun and Fenshan Mountains, and Liangsing Tower, which the Kainilin sect presented as a gift of apology to the clan leader. There are also 7 or 8 other small properties, but I won't mention them all. Just take a look, clan leader. Wang De took a look, familiar with most of them. Were Heiji Market also given to us? Wang Zimin asked. Wang Liaoru nodded. Okay, buying the shop was indeed foolish, Wang Zimin admitted. Wang De pondered, but remained silent. Everyone retreated, leaving only Wang Liaoru behind. These 7 great sects were still posing a challenge for them. The eastern coastline was a life-or-death struggle. While the products produced there were valuable, the Mulan sect, along with the other 3 garrison sects, lost countless disciples there every year. As for these few industries, they were nothing to the 7 great sects. All the shops in Heiji Market had been sold, and the Mulan sect had taken the money, yet they were left to manage us. The Wuxi Mountain mineral vein had been mined since the time of the 5 Spirit sect, but now the mines were nowhere to be found. Even if there was any remaining, it would be a huge expense to mine. Mishun and Fenshan were still somewhat useful, and Wang De knew them. They were both the mountain gates of small sects that had been wiped out by Shangzhuang Valley. Originally occupied by a few independent cultivators, they were later expelled and taken over by the other 2 of the 7 great sects. The availability of these 2 mountain gates greatly intrigued Wang De. As for Liangsing Tower, Wang De didn't understand the industry, though he assumed there was some profit to be made. However, cultivating female demons was beyond his comprehension. The 7 or 8 smaller sites required few personnel, but the output was also pitifully small. These so-called benefits, these so-called industries, were nothing to them, but a waste to abandon. However, for the Wang family today, they were useful, and of great use. Spirit stones and resources were a life-or-death gamble. Relying solely on Wang's system, even the slightest error could lead to total failure. Wang Liaoru naturally spoke extensively, including his perspectives, and Wang De listened attentively. The 2 chatted for the entire afternoon. By evening, Kinjentropy Mountain was abuzz with activity. Aside from Wang, who couldn't fly, and the two groups of 6 or 7-year-olds, the rest had left the Kinjentropy Mountain gate. Within half an hour, an 8-year-old disciple had led all 13 members of the Liu family to Kinjentropy Mountain. Clan leader Liu, my clan leader is waiting for you in the main hall. Please go up on your own. I have other things to attend to, the Wang family member said. Okay, go ahead. Liu Zixing replied. The member flew out again, and Liu Zixing and his group of 13 went up the mountain. Outside the main hall, Wang stood at the door. Old Liu. Liu Zixing gave a thumbs up. Wang, you're really awesome. Now is not the time to talk about this. Come in quickly and discuss important matters. Wang replied. Liu Zixing walked in without saying anything more. They all took their seats. Liu Zixing began to speak. I've brought you 11 cultivators from our Liu family, all at the 10th level of key training. Tell me what you want to do, and I'll do whatever you say. However, I still want to ask, do you truly have the ability to slay a giant cultivator now? At the early giant stage, our entire Wang family should have no problem slaying 10, Wang said, not exaggerating. Of course, his enhanced body was a match for 1 or 2 early giant cultivators, but if there were more than 2, the sheer spiritual energy drain alone would likely wear him down. However, Wang Liaoru had said that the Bagua formation could easily slay 10. Upon hearing this, the 12 Liu family cultivators gasped. The day you were kidnapped, I wondered if it was that woman from the Jiushan Zuangxin Palace who abducted you. It seems you've truly had a fortuitous encounter. Liu Zixing said. Let's not discuss that for now. I called you here to discuss something, Wang said. First, let me tell all of you who are at the 10th level of key training in the Liu family. I'm willing to give you foundation establishment pills, but you'll have to work for me. I wonder if you're willing to do that, Wang said. Everyone looked at each other. Liu Zixing remained silent, his head bowed in thought. An elder spoke up. Although the Wang family and I have been friends for generations, and we share a common kinship, we naturally disagree with your vague request to work for you. Tell me, what will we do for you, and for how long? Let me ask you, if you were to work on your own, without the support of your family, how long would it take you to gather the spirit stones needed for a foundation establishment pill? Wang asked. Everyone looked at each other again, and one person spoke up. I've already saved quite a bit, only needing 80,000 or 90,000 spirit stones, another said. Without any preparation, I don't think I could have saved enough in 5 or 6 years on my own, another said. I have already collected enough, but I haven't bought the foundation establishment pill. It's just that in order to break through the foundation establishment, in addition to the foundation establishment pill, I also need a high-quality magic weapon. Otherwise, I won't be able to survive the heavenly tribulation and will end up falling. Chapter 174 Fornade. 6 years, then. Work for me for 6 years, and I'll provide you with the spirit stones for your foundation building pills. As for your magic weapons, you'll need to provide them yourself. This is inherently risky, otherwise I wouldn't be in such desperate need of foundation establishment cultivators. But I can guarantee that I won't do anything that would cost you your lives in vain, Wang said. The crowd below began to discuss. Wang remained unhurried, simply watching with a smile. Someone spoke loudly. I agree. It's just selling 6 years of my life. If I tried to save it myself, I'd never know when I could get it, and I'd need magical tools, which would waste time. By the time I finally break through to foundation establishment, I'd probably be stuck at the early stages of foundation establishment for the rest of my life. Might as well give it a try. I'm afraid of death, otherwise I wouldn't have become a cultivator. I'm also afraid of tribulations. Clan leader Wang, you said I'd risk my life, and you've said it so vaguely, which makes me even more afraid. Forgive my rudeness, but I can't agree, another person said. Everyone expressed their opinions one after another. The elders almost all disagreed, while the younger ones were mostly in agreement. 11 key training level 10 cultivators, 6 agreed. Wang glanced at Liu Zixing. It doesn't matter to me. Our Liu family doesn't have enough spirit stones to support every key training level 10 cultivator to break through to foundation establishment. Since clan leader Wang is willing to provide spirit stones, if someone does succeed, it will be a good thing for our Liu family, Liu Zixing said. Wang nodded. It's settled. I'll come to see you all within 6 months. Everyone bowed, no further words being said. Wang De continued, looking at Liu Zixing. Old Liu, how has Maoguang Peak and the Beast Hunting Mountains recovered? It's only been a short time, so it's naturally not as good as it was. However, the Beast Hunting Mountains are interconnected, and exotic beasts from other peaks frequently flock to Maoguang Peak. So, it's recovered somewhat, and we're now back at the foot of Maoguang Peak, Liu Zixing said. Do you need to pay spirit stones to the 7 great sects for hunting exotic beasts in the Beast Hunting Mountains? Wang De asked. That's not necessary, but the rules are set by the 7 great sects everywhere. Furthermore, if the exotic beasts we hunt contain beast callers, we must sell them to them. We can't keep them for ourselves or sell them privately. As you know, not every exotic beast can produce beast callers. They're an extremely scarce resource, Liu Zixing said. What's the use of these beast callers? And how many forces are stationed at the foot of Maoguang Peak? Wang De asked. Different beasts have different uses for their beast callers, generally used to refine high-grade medicinal pills or high-level magical weapons. They have many uses. Maoguang Peak is home to quite a few factions, mostly from our area, about 4 or 5, and of course, there are also independent cultivators. Because, aside from the beast callers, the 7 great sects lack anybody to manage them. The Beast Hunting Mountains have always been a rather chaotic place, Liu Zixing said. Wang De pondered for a moment. This was a bit troubling. Apparently, by giving Maoguang Peak to me, they meant I would be the one to purchase these beast cores from now on. It was mainly because Wang De and the Wang family didn't know much about beast cores. Otherwise, earning spirit stones from them would be easy. Everyone, wait a moment. I need to speak privately with clan leader Liu. Wang De led Liu Zixing towards the back hall. Old Liu, if I were to purchase these beast cores for you, how many spirit stones could you earn per month? Wang De asked. For me? Liu Zixing asked curiously. Wang De nodded. This is a priceless treasure. You know, the 7 great sects don't want anything else, but this one. You can probably guess its rarity. Anyone wouldn't sell it for money, Liu Zixing said. Just like you and me, we don't have any use for this thing right now, so it's more practical to sell it for spirit stones, Wang De said. You're wrong. If I could keep this thing, I wouldn't even grind it up and soak it in water. I wouldn't sell it. It's a treasure, Liu Zixing said. Can this be soaked in water? Wang De asked. Liu Zixing was speechless, feeling that Wang De had completely misunderstood what he was saying. How many spirit stones did the 7 great sects pay for you? Wang De asked. 50,000 spirit stones per piece. If we could get one, it would basically cover our clan's expenses for several months, Liu Zixing said. Even at this price, the 7 major sects are forcibly exploiting us. If we really sold it, it would definitely cost over 100,000 spirit stones. But this thing is so rare, so that's indeed a good thing. It seems I must take over Maoguang Peak immediately. Otherwise, if I miss one, I'll miss out on 50,000 spirit stones. Wang De muttered to himself. What? You're taking over Maoguang Peak? Liu Zixing asked. Yes, I need your help with this. Wang De said. Of course. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Liu Zixing said. My family is short on manpower, and your Liu family happens to be stationed at Maoguang Peak year-round. How about helping me acquire the beast pills? Wang De asked. Sure, it's a piece of cake. Liu Zixing said. I'll also send 2 of my disciples to take turns guarding each place. You just need to keep an eye on it and prevent them from taking it, Wang De said. Liu Zixing nodded and immediately sent a message to the Liu family members stationed at Maoguang Peak, asking them to come and help them complete the handover with the Kainian sect. Wang De walked out. Outside were just a bunch of brats. It really wasn't easy to leave this kind of thing to them. Better wait until the others returned. Such blatant gains must be taken seriously. Returning to the main hall, Wang De questioned Liu Zixing again. How many cultivators does your Liu family have now? 310, but 50 or 60 of them are younger disciples, Liu Zixing said. Would you like to earn some extra income? Wang De asked. What's extra income? Liu Zixing asked. It's like working for me, giving out spirit stones. It's definitely more than you could earn farming at home, or at least as much as you could earn hunting exotic beasts, and without the risks and precautions. Wang De kept talking. Sure, Liu Zixing replied. How many people do you need, and what level of cultivation? Preferably at the 5th key training level or above. If you're at the 4th level, I might give you fewer spirit stones. As for the number of people, the more the better, Wang said. Okay, I'll go back and organize them, Liu Zixing said. Wang glanced at Liu Zixing. Old Liu, thank you so much. I should be the one thanking you for your willingness to provide spirit stones to help my clan members purchase Foundation establishment pills, Liu Zixing said. The two were chatting in the main hall when they saw Zhao Ju walk in with over 30 people, including Aunt Wang Qimo and several of the Wang family's wives. Zhao Ju stared at Wang intently, unable to recover for a long time, as if he were looking at a little girl, unpredictable. Old Zhao, you're finally here, Wang said familiarly. Patriarch Wang. Zhao Ju wanted to bow, but Wang held him by the hand. We're so familiar with each other, let's skip these formalities, it seems awkward. Wang smiled. Zhao Ju was speechless and sat down across from Liu Zixing. Well done. Our Wang family has finally. Aunt Wang was a little tearful, she had witnessed the Wang family's transformation over decades. Wang offered a few words of comfort, but said nothing more. Women just love to cry like this. Although Wang's main hall was large enough, it didn't have enough space. The Liu family had 13 people, so there was plenty of room. With over 30 people from the Zhao family, there wasn't enough space. However, the Zhao family members didn't dare say anything and stood quietly. Liu Zixing and Wang had finished their conversation and stood up. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Zhao Ju, they left with the Liu family members. The acquaintances from both families also chatted for a while before departing. Chapter 175 Foreign Aid. I originally wanted to bring my grandmother and my grandparents here alone, but when everyone in the clan heard I was coming to Kenjintang, they all wanted to come along to see Patriarch Wang, so Zhao Ju explained. That's fine, that's fine. I asked you here to talk to you about the Zhao family. Since everyone is here, it's a good opportunity to discuss things, Wang said. Wang was so approachable, and everyone in the Zhao family felt a little reserved, unsure how to respond. Old Zhao, how many cultivators does your Zhao family have? Wang asked. Currently, 561, including dozens of young people and dozens of elderly people, Zhao Ju said. You know our Wang family only has a few dozen people now, so we asked you here because we need your help, Wang said. Just ask whatever you want. We in the Zhao family will do whatever we can, Zhao Ju said. Wang paused. I know that while the Zhao family is large, their cultivation isn't particularly high, and they're not particularly skilled in combat. But I know you must have quite a few skilled business people, right? Of course. Our Zhao family is not just about farming, Zhao Ju said, covering his face as Wang poked at his sore spot. So, I'd like to ask you to help me look after my business. And it might not be a small business, but a multifaceted business, Wang said. Zhao Ju hesitated, looking at someone below him. The person stood up. Thank you, Patriarch Wang. I oversee all the business and operations of our clan's various shops. I'm qualified to take on this responsibility, but... Before the person could finish, Wang nodded. To be honest, the Zhao family's shops are primarily located in Hejiafang City and Fancheng, and from now on, both will be managed by our Wang family. The person immediately bowed. Patriarch Wang commands, and no one dares to disobey, even without compensation. Of course there will be compensation, and given the relationship between our two families, everyone will earn spirit stones from now on, and we won't be treated unfairly, Wang said. However, I want to do more than just business in these two places. I hope everyone in the Zhao family can help. As for the specific matters, we can discuss them another day when we have time. Today, I'm just soliciting everyone's opinions. Zhao Jia stood up and agreed on behalf of everyone. Wang smiled and changed the subject. The last time I visited your Wushan, I saw that your spiritual fields have been developed all the way to the foot of the mountain. It's a large area. I wonder what the meaning is? Zhao Jia was stunned and replied. The spiritual energy at the foot of the mountain is thin, and we have no choice. Our clan is already large, and even the housing is insufficient. We don't have any other mountain gates, so we can only develop spiritual fields at the foot of the mountain. However, even if the crops are well cultivated, the returns at the foot of the mountain are not very significant. I've been to this part of Wushan before. It's about the same size as Kinjentropy, and the spiritual energy is not very abundant. Wang said casually, changing the subject again. If Wushan were uninhabited and only cultivated, how much spiritual herbs, spiritual medicines, and spiritual rice could be produced in a year? No people? Zhaoju looked at someone below with a puzzled look. Another person stood up and saluted Wang De. Every mountain is different. Take Wushan, for example. If it weren't inhabited, different areas would be suitable for planting different crops, so it's impossible to give a definitive number. Let me put it another way. Wang De said. Suppose I rent Entropy Mountain to you. You can cultivate it there. Just give a rough estimate of how many spirit stones you can produce annually. The crowd below actually began to discuss. Wang De remained unhurried, simply waiting. After a long while, someone stood up. In terms of pure production, it's around 200,000 spirit stones a year. But we also need a lot of manpower, and various formations and other expenses also cost a lot of spirit stones. And that doesn't even include the cost of seeds used by our own clan, and that's not counting the rent for now. Only 200,000 spirit stones. Too little. Only enough to buy 1.5 foundation establishment pills, Wang De muttered to himself. I had thought that with the Zhao family being so wealthy, this planting would be a very profitable venture. But now it seems that every family would cultivate it. It's just that the Zhao family's planting is superior, so it's slightly more profitable, but not exorbitantly so. Of course, compared to risking their lives hunting exotic beasts, staying within the clan and cultivating the land peacefully was more profitable. If I were to do this myself, I'd have to hire people, buy seeds, and even buy formations. What would the profit be? Wang De asked. 50,000 a year at most, the man said. Wang De nearly vomited blood. He had thought that acquiring the 2 empty spiritual mountains was the most valuable asset. If the Zhao family were to cultivate the land, it would only yield 50,000 spirit stones a year. He'd be better off cultivating some strong spiritual wood himself. He wouldn't give them any money, even if he died. Only 50,000 spirit stones a year, but now I think I can get that with just any effort. Even a single beast pill would bring in 50,000 spirit stones. Forget it, let's put the 2 mountains aside for now. He definitely couldn't give them to the Zhao family. Wang De felt like they were ripping him off. He had to reconsider the business he'd promised them to manage. Just as Wang De was pondering this, someone suddenly stood up. Clan leader Wang. Wang De came back to his senses and looked at him. Is Patriarch Wang referring to the sacred mountains of Mishan and Fengshan? Sure enough, the Zhao family also had intelligent individuals. Wang De didn't nod, didn't shake his head, and certainly didn't reply. The man continued. If my guess is correct, the 7 major sects should have also given these 2 mountains to the Wang family, right? This time, Wang De nodded. The man continued. Since Patriarch Wang asked those questions, I'm sure the Wang family doesn't have enough personnel to manage these 2 peaks? Wang De nodded again. What I'm saying is that if the Wang family wants to develop, all aspects are indispensable: alchemy, weapon forging, breeding exotic beasts, and so on. But among these, alchemy is the most important. And the Wang family clearly doesn't have anyone skilled in alchemy. That's why Patriarch Wang sent someone to the Zhao family to learn alchemy. Wang De nodded again. Go on. Since Patriarch Wang wants to train alchemists, various spiritual herbs and medicinal herbs are indispensable. While growing them might not be profitable, the price is still quite high if purchased. And right now, 2 of the peaks are unguarded. Why not give one to the Zhao family? Putting aside the profit, we only want 30% of the mountain. For the rest, whatever Patriarch Wang wants to plant, we'll do our bidding. Furthermore, the formations, seeds, and personnel will all be provided by our Zhao family, and all the proceeds will belong to the Wang family. What do you think, Patriarch Wang? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone fell into deep thought. No one in the Zhao family objected, clearly indicating agreement. Wang De pondered for a moment and looked at him. Can you make the decision? The man looked at Zhaoju. Zhaoju turned. What he said, I agree. Okay, I agree, but I have one request. If I want to take it back, I can do so at any time, Wang De said. This. The man hesitated to disagree and glanced at the others. Zhaoju spoke up. At least 3 years, then you can take it back if you want. How about that? Okay. Wang De nodded. The group chatted with Wang De for a long time before leaving. Although Wang De and the others had already made the agreement, it was all something Wang De had thought of beforehand. The next part was the difficult part. After a sleepless day, Everyone had almost returned to the mountain by the afternoon of the next day. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.